Hello and welcome to Starlit Future, the Unveiled Galaxy. My name is Ian Frost, and I will be your intergalactic storyteller for this very special three-part adventure. I am joined, as ever, by our wonderful cast of Chance Encounters. We got Asteria.
What up? What up? What up? We're in space.
We have Ben.
Sup, future war criminal here.
No!
And we have the action star himself, Eric Monroe Schwan.
F in the space chat for your boy.
So, guys, this is so exciting. This is, for you, a brand new setting that you have never seen us play before. But for me, this is very near and dear because this is a setting and universe, really, that has been sitting on the shelf since the earliest iteration of Chance Encounters. And I am so stoked to finally be playing in this universe with my friends. I just genuinely can't wait for you to see it. So before we get started, I want to let you know a little bit about the system that we're going to be playing in.
Number one.
First thing.
It fucks hard.
It's really good. And I can't take credit for it. So the system that we are using is a modified version of the Kids on Bikes system. You may also have seen it as Kids on Brooms or Teens in Space. It all operates on the same basic system. We use the full polyhedral array, except for the percent die, but really whoever used the percent die anyway, who cares about that? What are we, wild magic sorcerers?
It's true. Well, to be fair, when I have to roll a percent thing in D&D, I do roll just one D10 and then another D10. It's too confusing.
But we are using the scale of D4 to D20. And what all of our players have done is they have taken our 6 basic stats of the game, which are Brains, Brawn, Fight, Flight, Charm, and Resolve, which is a proprietary stat for our modified version. Previously, it was known as Grit. We have changed that to Resolve. So they have assigned one of each type of die to each one of those stats. And in-game, whenever they have to do something that requires some element of risk, I will ask for an ability check. I will set the difficulty, generally based on the actual die they're using. If it's nearly impossible for you to do, that's going to be a unique case, right? But in general, you will always have a chance to succeed. And you're going to have to meet or beat that difficulty. If you beat the difficulty by 5 degrees of success or more, something extra good happens, and you pretty much control the narrative within reason of what special extra bit happens. The above and beyond success, if you will. But conversely, if you fail by a degree of 5 or more, I control the narrative a little bit more, and it goes wrong in a special way that could be dangerous to you or your party, depending on just how bad the degree of success the degree of success is. Yes. And some of our proprietary modifications are that we shut up. Don't do this to me before we even started.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You said it. Okay.
I did say it. So our proprietary modifications are firstly what we call qualities. Now, we do not believe in racial determinism in Chance Encounters. Get rid of that. We hate it.
No, racist.
What we do believe in is a rich universe filled with unique, interesting alien peoples. And so qualities represent the wild, wacky, and spacey abilities that the proprietary alien races of the setting of Starlit Future have at their disposal. So these give different mechanical benefits, not like static stat bonuses, because that's the racial determinism we don't like. They are unique little abilities that can benefit our players. The skills give them extra die. When they are used, they're rolling more than just their straight ability die. So we can get even more interesting stuff going on. If at any point a player rolls the maximum number on a die, whether it's their stat die or their skill die, the die explodes and they get to roll another die and add that number on top of it. And you can theoretically keep exploding as long as you keep rolling the highest number. And when that happens, which I really hope it does at some point, wild things can happen in this game. So that is everything that you need to know about the system. From this point, you'll just have to see it in action and pick it up along the way. With that being said, let us now take to the stars and begin our first foray into the universe of the Starlit future. We fade in, where else but space? A vast sea of stars and a sea of possibilities stretch out before us. And I mean literally stretch out before us, because they are elongated into lines, as from our point of view, we are rocketing through space at warp speed. We hear this pleasant sort of hum of engines and a shimmer of a warp bubble surrounding a vessel that we don't quite see, but we know we're looking out through a view screen. And the stars begin to slow down as we hear the pressing of buttons, but we don't see the hands pressing them. We only see out into space as the stars, those lines condense into points. And as speed sort of stabilizes, we see a different point on the horizon. It's coming up fast. At first, it's perfectly spherical. It looks like almost like a little gashapon on the horizon. It is sort of split on the top like a glass bubble with something in it that we can't quite make out when you first see it, but on the bottom, just pure metal steel, the line straight in the middle that gives that gashapon effect. And then as it's coming up faster, it's getting bigger and bigger until we realize it's the size of a moon, a pretty big moon. But this is not a naturally occurring thing. This is a construct, a station, if you will. The bottom level is a massive monster of steel and other metals. And there are ports that are opening, doors sliding open with just little kind of faint force fields over them. And you could see inside the tiny little ant-like figures of workers loading cargo. And you see ships of various make and model coming in and out, slowing down, pulling in and pulling out. There is a lot of activity, lots of people coming and going at this station. But up above, within this bubble, you see what looks like a very faint, shimmering light blue, but fully translucent force field, which is more of a failsafe because it's covering a glass, but it's not actually glass, bubble surrounding the city station of Vertex, built on the exact center, the actual vertex between all known cosmic borders. Space controlled by the various peoples who make up the Cosmic Trust. And here we see, within this bubble, spires of silver, holographic billboards and images, shuttles and airships flying about, monorails between buildings, and just a hum of activity that you can't hear from the outside, but you can only imagine. And it keeps getting bigger. And we realize whatever vessel we're in is still moving a little bit too fast. And as we pull out and we see a pale pair of hands deftly working the controls, we pan up and we see the pilot of this modest Cosmic Trust shuttle. And we see the city reflected in the big, round, glowing eyes of none other than Lieutenant Commander La Di Da. And Eric, if you wouldn't mind describing who we see at the helm.
Well, first off, you hear just this really thumping bass music, and under his breath, he's just going, "Oh God, I'm so late. I'm so late." But it's this kind of gray alien-esque looking fellow, except with more proportions that are humanoid in the way that humans are humanoid. He doesn't have like a massive head. He's pretty skinny and svelte, and kind of sinewy, let's say. But he is wearing aviator glasses, which he then puts up, looks out at the screen around him, showing space around him, and Vertex station off in the distance. This Volkai man with black vein. How would you describe how black vein manifests in skin, Ian?
So it looks, honestly, from just to the casual observer, it would almost look like tattoos, but there's something much more ink-like and smooth, almost like calligraphy across the skin in a sort of a way. Yeah. And you've name dropped our first proprietary alien, the Volkai.
Yeah. So a great alien looking fellow with these kind of patches of undulating like black inkness underneath his skin, but over top of that he's tattooed different his favorite constellations that he's seen all over the universe. So it almost, as this inky blackness under his skin moves, the constellations almost seem to kind of move and shimmer as well. He's wearing an ascot, like an aviator's ascot scarf. He is already in his CTF or Cosmic Trust uniform, which is blue because he is in the... What does blue stand for? Is it piloting or navigation?
Blue is navigation, yeah.
And kind of pretty loose, baggy pants that are probably too big for him with a belt, and then combat boots on. And as he flies, he pulls up his comm and goes, Lieutenant Commander La-di-da, hailing Vertex Station. I am, let's see, about 6 hours late. I got distracted, but I am here now, reporting for the CTF's Mariposa's launch in, like a week. I would love to land as quickly as possible. Thank you. And he even kind of kicks it even more into high gear as he is getting closer and closer to Vertex Station. And could I do like a flight check?
Yes. So as...
You don't fucking crash.
I was gonna, you predicted exactly what I was gonna ask you to do. Now, it is not going to be a difficult check. As you say this, it's kind of funny because it's you basically interrupt. Your comms started coming to life and you were going to get a message and you fully just ask first. And the response comes through and you get, Lieutenant Commander Law.
You can call me Laddie.
Very well. We would ask you to please transmit your command codes quickly, and please reduce speed so that the tractor beam can take effect if you so choose to aid in your landing. As soon as we get your clearance codes...
Yes on one, no on two. I'm pretty good at landing myself, so here are those codes, and he is Tokyo drifting into the docking station.
So
I'm gonna also, I'm gonna use my supercharge ability on this instead of my piloting ability. So he's going super fast.
What's funny is that once you submit your command codes, you get the silence of someone who knows technically you outrank them. And so they can't, even it's procedure to help you land with the tractor beam. And they now have to just not do that. And so you begin to fly your way down, and the voice goes, yes, please make your way down to Shuttle Bay 7. You'll be all right. And the comms cut out. And as you're just speeding toward it. So I'm going to have you make a piloting check. This is only going to be a difficulty of 5.
Gotcha. Okay. As he is flying, you see behind him almost like it's almost like motion lines, but like the vapor of space ice or whatever coming off the ship as he is just going at the speed of light into this docking station. Let's see what happens. God, that could have been so much worse. I got a 9. And I do want to make it apparent he has a D20 in flight, so that's bad. 6
you
on the
have
die,
any,
and then 3 for supercharge on a D4 for that
solid?
skill.
And did you roll your piloting skill?
No, I rolled the supercharged skill because he's focusing on getting there quickly more than safely.
Got it. Okay.
So
a 9
as
does
he's
still.
flying, you see in the cockpit, he's holding on to the throttle, and you see sparks of electricity go from his fingers into the ship itself. And there's just a little bit of extra oomph to him, to the engine now as it is blasting off into the docking station.
Yeah, as those electrical currents sort of crackle at your fingertips visibly. This Rolkai ability that you have nurtured in a very unique way to you takes hold and connects you on an even deeper level to this machine. And I think we even see you like relax into it. You are kind of doing something you weren't supposed to do, not on the timeline you were given. And yet we still see you just deftly, expertly do exactly what you know you were chosen for this mission to do. And as the shuttle bay, the steel shuttle bay door actually opens, it wasn't already open. It's not one of the ones that people are coming in and out of, because as an officer of the Cosmic Trust, you are going to a shuttle bay that is, a little more secure, not just for public, entry and exit into the city. You make your way in through this sort of water-like shimmering force field that you pass through easily, and you land very cleanly despite your speed, as just this sort of hiss of like decompression.
As he enters the bay, he e-brakes, all the engines get killed, and he just lightly floats down onto the ground. And then you just hear inside, "That's what Mama likes."
So good.
Oh my god, I love him.
And you can already see this area just through your view screen. And you do have an actual kind of windshield element. But one thing that is noteworthy is that in space, a windshield is not that valuable in terms of seeing. If you're running on just your ion engines, things that are close enough to see as though you were in a car, perfectly good. But most of the time, what you're using is an actual screen. So the window doubles as a screen, and you can magnify and look out at things, that are a great distance away, much more suitable to space travel. So you switch back to the actual windowed mode, not the screen. So you can see this very busy, bustling shuttle bay. And knowing the time frame, now you were supposed to be here yesterday. You know that you are meant to go to your ship that you have been assigned to for this mission in about 2 hours. You are meant to go meet up with the first officer who will escort you to the ship. So technically, you're on time. You're not late for your meeting, but you are later than you were expected. And you see already just the bustle of activity of primarily Cosmic Trust officials. Now, Vertex City Station is the seat of Cosmic Trust governance. So, naturally, there will be a lot of officers here, especially today, when some of the final members of the crew who are expected for this particular mission are arriving, such as yourself. So you step out and you see people carrying cargo. You see people with these kind of repulsor gurney-like lifts that are moving on their own, just with a remote control, carrying just big boxes of cargo through this bay. And then there's a big separator on the other side, and you don't see what's through it, but you have a feeling what's on the other side.
Hey, I got 20 crates of stuff in there that's mine. I need that loaded onto the Mariposa, now. Thanks. And you see him hit a space vape, and a cloud comes out, just mingled with electricity.
Yes, sir, says this young ensign, and he starts bringing people over, and they come over, and just a bunch of young cadets in uniforms, ensigns, if you will, begin pulling out your various crates and taking them in that direction, which only confirms what you know, that your ship that is waiting for you is over there. And as you're looking in that direction, somebody steps into your field of view. A young woman who looks about like she's in her mid to late 20s. It's like exceptionally nice skin. Looks like a Korean woman with thick black hair that is sort of pushed up into this pompadour and then comes back behind her ears. And at first glance, you think that she is just a organic human. But as she gets closer, you start to realize that there is this slight glimmer in her eyes that is telltale to you that she is actually a transcended human. A human who has transferred their consciousness, their conscious mind, into an android body that can potentially live forever. Something that roughly 75% of humanity has now done. It's not strange to you to see a transcended human who has opted for a more traditional humanoid-looking body, though it is kind of a minority. You're accustomed to seeing, even just some of the ensigns who are now moving your cargo have maybe pointed ears, colored eyes that are different, that maybe not just irises, they have full colored eyes with no pupils, or skin on a rainbow colored spectrum. All of these different things are very normalized for humanity. So there is something, just a little twinge of something at seeing a transcended human that looks so originalist human, if you will. And she kind of stands between you and that separator.
Hey, what's up, Lieutenant Commander Laddie of the away team of the CTF Mariposa. Since you're human, my real name is La Di Da, but I'm gonna ask that you not make a joke about the colloquial phrase that is similar to my name that you guys have in one of your human languages. I would really appreciate that. You can just call me LT Laddie. What's your name?
It's
LTC. Whatever. What's your name?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Lieutenant Commander. And she outstretches her hand. I am Lieutenant Commander Sally Park, though we're probably going to be working quite closely together, so you're welcome to call me Sally, since we're not officially aboard the Mariposa just yet. So on that subject, the ship isn't quite, well, let's put it this way. You're not expected just yet. You still have another 2 hours before you're expected to meet with the first officer in Harmony Square. So we would advise that you scope out the city, stay close, of course.
Oh, I'm getting food like right now. I haven't eaten this morning. I just kind of got in the ship and went, and then I got distracted by a cool space cloud that I kind of orbited for a while because I just wanted to get like the 360, What's good to eat around here? Do you want to also go with me? It'd be nice to like have a friend on the ship,
Oh, I would, but I'm actually overseeing some of the final crew onboarding for the navigation department.
Well, like I could get you I could get you takeout. Like humans eat well, you're transcended, but you eat like milk, right? Or like
Oh no, I opted for the
vegetable.
functioning stomach option.
Oh, cool. Wow. That's very brave of you.
She chuckled somewhat nervously, and she scratches at the back of her neck and she goes, yeah, well, it was very nice to meet you, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you around. I mean, of course I'll be seeing you around in a few hours. Anyway,
Yeah.
have fun up at Vertex. Commander. And she turns, kind of waiting very politely for you to go first before she fully turns away from you.
Oh, after me. All right. Thank you so much. And he just kind of jauntily walks off.
So you make your way
in search of food.
Got it. So you make your way zigzagging, and from your briefing that again, you were meant to arrive. You were meant? Yeah, you were meant to arrive yesterday. There is a room reserved for you at the Crown Royale, which is a hotel, a very nice hotel. And the accommodations are free for you. Like, all expenses are totally paid for. This is a big event, and for all intents and purposes, this is kind of a high-profile celebrity mission, which is only reinforced by what you see when you step into the elevator after having zigzagged through this bustling activity, people loading cargo, preparing for the mission to come. You get in the elevator, and the elevator actually has a see-through option on the other side. So once you pass up through the various shuttle bays, you immediately are struck with morning daylight. And it is quite early. It's about 7 a.m. from a human Earth standard. And Vertex City Station does actually operate on Earth time because it was initially built, or at least founded and funded, by a transcended human. One Victor Crown, in fact, who owns the hotel that you are to be staying at. Or at least that you were to be staying at had you been here last night like you were supposed to.
Yeah, I don't know if he goes to the hotel. I think that he truly just goes and grabs like walking and eating food, like food on a stick, and then it's just walking around and like hungrily taking in everything around him. Like, you can tell that whenever he goes someplace, he is trying to absorb everything about that place as quickly as he can.
Oh, fully. And a few things stand out to you as well. Now, this is, again, the kind of the center of the Cosmic Trust, both literally in terms of cosmic borders and in terms of it actually being the seat of the governing council of the Cosmic Trust. But it is also a very functioning city station, and it is a hive of activity. I mean, people are drawn here, businesses, entertainment. It is, for all intents and purposes, a capital and a bustling one. People from all walks of life, and really all the peoples who are represented by the Cosmic Trust, are here. And the mission that you are here to be a part of, it's created, there is like a mania of it. It's all around you. Billboards with images of your ship, the CTF Mariposa, in all of its glory. I will hold off on describing it until we see it in person, but you are seeing images of it. You are seeing toys of it, kids walking around with balloons shaped like your ship. Now, you are not necessarily of a celebrity status. They're not broadcasting who the whole crew is, but one of the first things that you do notice as you step out is there are giant holographic advertisements all over the place. And the second you step out of the shuttle bay, the deliberate placement, the primary advertising placement of this, you see this massive, probably 20-foot tall hologram of Captain Okida, the man who you will be serving under, who you have not met. He is, from what you can see, what is known as an Unala. If you were to venture a guess based on the hologram and based on what you know of the Unala as a people, he's probably about 8 feet tall, with big, cloven, goat-like legs, covered in tan fur, with this very thick neck that comes up out of his uniform. He has just the faintest hint of a muzzle and a modest smile, big, warm, kind of olive-colored eyes. You see that he has a ginger-colored mane that has been actually clipped down all around his floppy ears that kind of flop over and out on the side of his head, but then his mane actually is kept up on the top in this big mohawk that's kind of falls and cascades back and over his shoulders a little bit, but it doesn't cover up his Cosmic Trust badge, his rank. That's still prominently displayed with its 4 pips indicating his captain rank. And you see, of course, the most prominent feature on most any Unala is that he has a pair of huge ornate antlers, like an elk, that come up out of his forehead and are decorated with silver jewelry that makes these little bridges between the different protruding horns of his antlers. And he's kind of looking out toward the horizon, but in the direction so that anyone stepping out of the shuttle bay immediately is just like standing in the what should be a the shadow of this hologram.
Laddie kind of like how does he react to that? I think he takes another hit of the vape and then just is like, wow, that's my captain. Cool. And then just walks away. You see on the back of his goggles, on the band that holds them together, on the back it says, "See ya." And I think although he's aware that he's not of a celebrity status, he buys kind of a like brown leather jacket that goes really nicely with his like burgundy scarf, goggles, and then the blue shirt. And he just tries to blend in. Is not trying to show he's military or anything, or with the Cosmic Trust. He is just staring at everyone who lives on Vertex and taking in the last bits of familiar civilization before he heads out to the great unknown.
And as you step out into the city, taking everything in, you're looking around you and up. And we pan over you. We follow your eye line up over the city where you can see just thousands upon thousands of people. Some of them gathered in massive shows, outdoor musical events. There are parades happening. And we continue. We sail up and over the city, higher and higher, up until we see this big spire practically at the heart of the city station. All the way up toward the top floor where we see the emblazoned logo of a golden crown up for everyone to see of the Crown Royale Hotel. And the camera moves in through the window into a very nicely furnished luxury hotel room. And we hear an alarm sound going off. And we see in this room its occupant, or at least its current occupant, Lieutenant Rudy Rodriguez.
That's me.
So where do we find you? Is the alarm actually waking you up at this time, or have you been awake?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm gonna say no. I think you see Rudy like come out of the bathroom freshly showered and then turn the alarm off.
So who do we see in this hotel room?
So you see Rudy, and he is this like 5'11" organic human with short curly hair that's just curls for days, black hair, brown eyes, and caramel colored skin. On the right side of his face, from like his temple down to like his cheek, there's like an obvious like burn mark, and he's wearing like a black glove on his left hand. And yeah, average build, no real muscle or anything on him, but he's not like weak by any measures, just not really what he focused on. And he's just kind of going over his checklist of, do I have everything? Have I done everything that I need to do? And he's just going through the paces of making sure that everything's in order before he leaves on this grand adventure.
So the alarm that you have now turned off, it's actually this perfect little silver orb that projects a little blue hologram that tells you what time it is at any given point. And the hologram flickers into a different shape of almost like a little emoji face. and it smiles this big smile at you, and then it comes up off of its little stand and is actually a free-floating little robot orb. And it says to you through its little speakers, "Good morning, Lieutenant Rodriguez. We are happy here at the Crown Royale to help you start your day your way. We would like to remind you that the full bevy of breakfast options are available free of charge to you as an honored member of the Cosmic Trust all day long. Though, as per your personal reminder that you have set, you are expected in Harmony Square in exactly 1 hour and 58 minutes.
Thank you. Good to know. Good to know.
It's like there's like this flashing light, and you see like options that it's cycling through in the hologram where it's like breakfast menu, itinerary, news of the day, and you can at any point just like hit a button and stop it on this and expand it. This is like your interactive personal assistant that comes with the room.
Then I guess he'll just order up some egg sausages and like a waffle for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll get back to quadruple checking that everything is in order.
Mm-hmm. So you're going through again, you're checking all of your luggage would have already been brought to the ship at this point. Anything that you don't immediately need. So everything that you needed still in the room, you're packing up to bring with you yourself, and or at least give it to someone to bring to the ship, which you could easily have done. And as you go, you're like checking, I think, to make sure that the room itself, like you've left it in good order. From your description, it sounds like that's the kind of guy you are.
Yeah.
And as you go and you check the blinds, you currently you kind of have them open for a moment, and you look out at this beautiful sprawling view of a city in celebration.
Not
the
in
irony
Kansas
is not
anymore.
lost on you that the ship that you are waiting to board is actually underneath all of this, not above it. Just waiting. So close. But as you're looking out, you do notice that there is a billboard, not like the big 20-foot hologram that we saw of the captain, but actually a billboard that does have, you know, a rectangular flat surface, but it's actually more like a flat screen TV, and it is projecting a moving image. And the moving image is actually of a man who seems to be a transcended human, and you know for a fact that he is. Everyone here knows who this man is. And you see a man with kind of white skin that is bordering on silver, with bright blonde hair that is pushed back, slicked perfectly neatly back behind his ears, and these crisp blue eyes that have just a faint hint of technology. You can almost see sort of glimmering sparks like tiny stars in his irises. And he's wearing this slate gray suit and this red power tie as his arms are crossed, and he's smiling over the city, and he outstretches his hands, and you see space unfurl behind him, stars twinkling, and you see an image pop up that says, "A representative for all of humanity. For your consideration, vote Crown for Representative 2117. You know that Victor Crown, as an individual, again, very well-known figure here. He owns this hotel. He is a business tycoon. He primarily owns a construction company that builds city stations, and also is now dabbling in ship design, and has even somewhat consulted on the construction of the Mariposa in its early stages. But he is primarily known for footing the vast majority of the bill of making Vertex City Station what it is. This place was built very quickly under that supervision with that budget. So he has a lot of recognition for doing that. And he's this big public figure. But it is currently an election year. As the current human representative on the Cosmic Trust, her term is about to expire and the vote is coming up in just a few months. Victor Crown is up for election. As you look at this billboard, I'm wondering if Rudy has a reaction to that.
The current representative is transcended too, right?
Yes.
He just kind of like looks at that and says, all of humanity. All of humanity. And then he'll go and he'll sit down at like the table and he'll just pull up the service record of the chief engineer that he's about to serve under.
Yeah. So you start looking at this service record. I won't go too much into it, simply because this is a character that we're going to meet in short order. But if there's anything in particular that you're looking for, I'm happy to give that information right now.
I guess how long they've been serving, like in the Cosmic Trust.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense that you're interested in this because he is an organic human. And as you know, I mean, they only represent about 15% of the human population in the galaxy or in the galaxies at this point, so even in the Cosmic Trust, you're represented even less on this mission. So that the chief engineer is an organic human already resonates with you in a pretty obvious way. But beyond that, it's come down the pipeline that he was in your corner. Young as you are, with the rank that you have, not even a commander yet, to be assigned to the dedicated field team responsible, the first wave for away missions. That's a big deal. So who is this man who advocated for you here and now? And you start going through his record as your food is brought up to your room and you begin to eat. And you're sort of trailing off, just sort of reading about Commander Michael McAllister and his rather impressive service record. And as you continue scrolling, eventually you finish your food and sort of tidy up, make one last sweep of the room, make sure you haven't forgotten anything. Close the door behind you and make your way down the hallway of this hotel. And as you make your way over do you take the elevator or the stairs?
He's gonna take the elevator. He's probably on like the 20th story or something. Like,
you go into the elevator and the doors close and you begin to descend, but the camera kind of lingers in the space that you've left behind. And then it travels into the elevator shaft behind you and then past you out the doors before they even open, out through this lavish lobby and beyond into the city. Not too far though, not too far to travel, because we go into the actual heart, the center, Harmony Square, located very nearby. It's basically the courtyard to the primary Cosmic Trust governing facility, which is a massive series of buildings that are in this sort of horseshoe shape. And none of the monorails or anything are connected to it. It is something you have to have clearance to come and see. But people are, of course, gathered out here. There are various reporters, there are people being interviewed. This is a very momentous time in the galaxy. And we see in the center of this big courtyard with green grasses all around and this sort of plus-shaped series of walkways that all meet. They converge at the center on this stone statue. And it's interesting to see a stone statue, something very ancient feeling in comparison to this metallic future, this transcended future all around you. We see a statue of a woman, a human woman, and you can't tell transcended from organic just from a statue if you don't know who this is. But she has strong features, kind of long eyelashes, very prominent nose. Her face is curled into a determined smile. She has long, dark, straight hair that cascades over her shoulders, and she's wearing what looks like a Cosmic Trust uniform, but an old school Cosmic Trust uniform back, from the inception of it. It's been sort of modernized. It's sleeker now than it used to be. And we pan down the statue to the plaque that reads Admiral Eva Bailey, a name that carries a lot of weight here, as she was the captain of the first ship, the ship that Harmony Square is named after. She captained the Harmony on a 20-year mission that carried the first humans, transcended humans, to what we now understand to be the Ilias Galaxy. The galaxy where the Unala, the Keithrali, the Volkai all live, and where so much history has happened in such a short time from a human perspective, though longer from the perspective of those who are native to this galaxy. She was also the first human representative and helped usher in this transition of peace after a devastating war. Looking up at this statue, we see, first of all, a body in a uniform, if I'm not mistaken, a uniform of purple color, indicating the command track. And then we move up, but in the space where a head should be, we do not see a human head. Oh no. We instead see the apparatus containing one constant, thoughtful actions. Would you please describe who we see in this moment?
Yes, I would like to back it up a little bit. You do not see a fabric uniform on this body. This body is made out of metal, completely robotic. And where the standard colors would fall on a Cosmic Trust uniform, it is instead painted, or I think there is extra armor plating, in fact. And the extra plating is what is colored, the colors of command of purple, as well as the badge is actually bolted to the breast. So it's not removable. And so as we pan up, we see a very sturdy but beautiful glass and metal orb. The metal is somewhat intricately designed on this orb, almost like lace, but it's made out of metal. And inside that orb is exactly 1.26 gallons of tinted blue water that sort of gently is swaying with the movement of, it's this body's movements, and looks up at the statue of Eva Bailey, and has their robotic hands behind their back, very commander-like, as we see Field Commander Constant Thoughtful Actions.
Now, Constant Thoughtful Actions is a Pondu, a race of basically sentient water. There is, of course, a lot more to it than that. But in this moment, now you have the ability to change your shape. I mean, you are water after all, but really you're the electricity that animates the water from your home planet. And many Pondu choose, when interacting with others, to take the shape of a face And that face can have various detail depending on how much sort of control, how much training has gone into really precise control of the aqueous form. Some make very humanoid looking faces out of water, practically water sculptures, whereas others vie for simply making little like emoji faces, very simple, but they convey the emotion. And yet others, many others, choose not to do that at all and simply speak through the vocal modulator on their tank and, maybe change shape, but make no real effort to make a face. Now, which camp do you fall under?
Well, currently there is no face.
Mhm.
They are sort of in an at rest, sort of just waiting, waiting for the other two members of their field team to arrive, so they can escort them to the ship as designated on their itinerary. So there's not much going on with constant thoughtful actions right now. They are just waiting for the next thing of the day.
Mm-hmm. Now, at this point, some time has gone by. We are maybe 15 minutes out from 0900 hours. Oh God, that's 9 a.m., right? Yeah. So, yeah, we're about 15 minutes from that point when you are expecting your field team to arrive so that you may escort them to the CTF Mariposa. But in this time period, so you're looking at this statue, you're kind of waiting, you do hear a voice approaching you off from your left-hand side that says, excuse me, you wouldn't happen to be Commander Constant Thoughtful Actions, would you?
Why, yes, I am. How may I help you?
So you turn and
the water sort of shifts with the action of turning.
You see what appears to be a young woman, but transcended, wearing a blue pantsuit with like a open white collar that's actually upturned slightly so it frames her jawline. And she does have a very sharp jawline, and she has bright pink hair that stands up and twists up into a curve, like just straight up off of her head, and has
those
these
bizarre
like,
adventure looking ass.
yeah, and she has these cotton candy blue lips, and you notice that she's carrying this very hefty looking shoulder bag. It looks like it's made of black leather, but it's very intricate looking. And she's carrying that, and she looks at you and she goes, I'm Veronica Dane with VNN, Vertex News Network. I was wondering if I could take a moment of your time for a quick interview.
Of course, Miss Dane. I have some time to kill. Would you like me to carry your bag?
Oh, no, that won't be necessary. And as she takes one of the handles of the bag apart so that the bag actually opens, you see that the entire bag folds in on itself and becomes this boxy, hovering repulsor camera.
That's so cool.
And a lens actually extends out from its face. It telescopes out and it hovers in place. And you see that she has a wristwatch on that she is controlling it from. And she kind of focuses it in at like a medium angle. And then she comes over and she adjusts her suit as she stands next to you. And I think a little microphone attachment. There's a smaller little microphone orb, like a little snowball mic. Actually, like a little panel opens and it comes out and it hovers over between you, and that's capturing audio. And she goes, "This is Veronica Dane reporting live from Harmony Square, right here where it all started, the seat of the Cosmic Trust. And our trust they do indeed have, because I am joined by the lovely, the wonderful, Constant Thoughtful Actions First Officer of the Cosmic Trust Flagship Mariposa. I was personally wondering, and I'm sure that I speak for many people here on Vertex and throughout the galaxy, throughout both galaxies, really. What are you feeling now on the eve, only 3 days away from the first launch? Are you prepared?
Prepared as will ever be, I imagine. I have been preparing for this for the majority of my time as since I was awakened. I am confident in all of my crewmates, not just my senior crew. And I am more than excited to see what's out there. It has been a dream of mine, as you organics might say, as I do not dream, to gain as much knowledge about the outside world, these stars, and this universe that we Pondu now take space in.
A beautiful, beautiful, well-articulated answer. I would expect nothing less from a distinguished officer such as yourself. And now you do mention what's out there, and I simply must know. Now, we're all on the edge of our seats waiting to see what awaits in the Unveiled Galaxy, though, as we all know, the Shroud Nebula has been a source of mystery for as long as it has been detected. Hundreds of thousands of years by the Unala's count of this interference, this great mystery, a galaxy-sized cloud obscuring everything, suddenly gone, disappeared. Now, are you personally concerned at all about any dangers that you might face?
Well, it is a big universe out there, and space can be certainly unrelenting. That's why we've taken every precaution, not only in the construction of the Mariposa itself, but with the training of all members of the crew for emergency protocol, hostile negotiation, or more like negotiation gone wrong. Anything that might go wrong can go wrong is sort of our philosophy. So we want to be as prepared as possible. Of course, we don't want anything to actually go wrong, but again, we have no idea what is beyond that cloud, and we have to be prepared for what we're going to find.
In the middle of this very thoughtful answer, you see a Volkine aviator's outfit come into the background, fall down, and then get up and look around. You see that he's wearing a Cosmic Trust uniform, and he walks out of frame.
So good. You see the camera pulls in tightly on your face now, or where your face would be. And you see that there is this flicker in Miss Dane's expression of like, I'm a little worried about asking this next question, but I have to do it. And as the camera pulls into a tighter angle on your face, she says, now, I believe that many share my enthusiasm for seeing who is the first Pondu to reach this rank in the Cosmic Trust on such an important mission. Now, of course, there have been many rumors circulating that the Pondu are on the verge of finally joining the Cosmic Trust officially. Do you have anything to weigh in on that subject? Any knowledge you might have or opinions on the matter?
I think up until this point, the water has been swaying with like head movement and with tone of voice. And this is the first time where it actually forms a more human or humanoid face. as this to what is the most serious question to them is posed. And they take a moment to think and ponder their answer, and you can see it on this now watery humanoid face, which then of course returns to a very pleasant smile. Now I'm no politician. I can only give my personal opinions on the matter. I joined the academy, and I joined and put my name in the ring, so to speak, for this mission because I believe in the Cosmic Trust, personally. This was a personal choice of mine to become a commander in the Cosmic Trust. I'm eternally grateful to Captain Okida for believing in me when seemingly I didn't believe in myself, and I would not be here today without him. Do I personally think that the Pondu could benefit from being part of the Cosmic Trust? Yes. Do I think the Cosmic Trust could benefit from the Pondu being a part? Yes. But I have no inside knowledge on a decision either way. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I'm going to have you make a charm roll.
Okay.
You got this, yo.
Difficulty of 6.
Difficulty of 6.
What die do you have in that?
I have a D10.
Okay.
And I used my empathy skill as I'm trying to answer the question, placate, potential viewers at home who have been asking these questions, wondering about it, while also like I'm trying to navigate a very interesting emotional space here.
Yeah, so you can definitely add your empathy die as well then for that skill.
Yeah, and I'm also like Veronica Dane does seem to be a very credible reporter, but she, I've watched TV before. I know how the circus can be. So I'm trying to accomplish what I said I was going to do, only give my personal opinion while also and make it clear that I'm not speaking for all the Pondu out there.
Veronica Dane's about to destroy you in this edit.
Twist
your words all the wrong way.
That's only a 4.
What'd you get? No!
Oh, no. Okay. Well, it's not a failure by a margin of 5.
Yeah.
But it is a failure somewhat. And you feel as the words crackle out of your speaker, you realize as you're looking at Veronica Dane's face, something didn't quite hit the level of confidence, the statement of an opinion that she was looking for. And you start to wonder, did I just come off like I was giving like a placating non-answer? Would it benefit? Yes. Would it benefit them too? Yes. And you realize that this might be spun in some kind of way, media-wise, in the future. And you see that sort of that gear turning on her face, and she keeps it together, of course, and she goes, well, thank you very, very much for your time, Commander, and I believe I can speak for both galaxies when I say that we very much look forward to all of your findings, to learning more about your team, and of course, what is out there in the Unveiled galaxy. We do actually have one more question. It's something we have to ask everybody, of course. What is your favorite store here on Vertex?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. I'm a bowl of water.
Everything but water. Everything but water.
Come on, Commander Shepard.
The Container Store.
It's actually not a bad answer.
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Um, well, I have to say, I am quite taken with the accommodations provided to me by a Crown Royale hotel. I don't particularly need to sleep in the same way that organics do, but I did find the lighting to be beautiful, the array of complimentary breakfast and foods for you organics to be excellent, and just the general decor to be absolutely clearly he has spared no expense.
Well, we do, of course, strive to stay impartial during these elections, but we can say with certainty that Mr. Crown does know his decor. Now, you can tune in to VNN in just a few weeks to see his upcoming debate. Until then, keep it spacey, everyone. And then the camera cuts out. And
then Constant Thoughtful Actions realized once again they fucked up by talking about Victor Crown. And you see the water inside returns back to, like, you know, water shape, not a face shape. And it starts to, like, not boil, but it does get a little more turbulent as they walk back to in front of the statue and begin to pace just a little bit.
And by this point, as you leave Veronica Dane behind before she can really, you know, say like personal off-camera goodbyes, you know, you become not really aware of what she's doing anymore. And you step back over to the statue, and as you start pacing, you see approaching.
I will say that I do say goodbye properly. Yes.
Totally fair. And as you head back over to the statue, you do see this Volkai officer who, you know,
Dusting
of course,
himself up.
As the first officer, you've already been here for a couple weeks. You've been overseeing, you've been on the ship. You know, you've been meeting with crew as people come in, doing evaluations, meetings, greetings, all that good stuff. So you know everyone's profiles, and you know exactly who this is. You know that this is a member of your field team, and you know that this is La Di Da, Lieutenant Commander.
So I walk up to a La Di Da who is actively like wiping.
He had a jacket and it's just discarded on the ground now next to him. He's just wiping himself off. And then he looks up. Commander!
Lieutenant Commander La, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Field Commander, Constant Thoughtful Actions.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. I've heard a lot of good things. Were you just talking to Veronica Danes?
I was, and truthfully, it was a more harrowing experience than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah, she's really hot. I know what you mean. Sorry, I shouldn't say that to my commanding officer. I'm an adult. I can do this. Who are we waiting on?
That would be Lieutenant Rodriguez.
As you hear his
wonderful.
name spoken out loud, you do notice, like from your field of vision, Lieutenant Rodriguez is, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez is approaching. No? Oh, no, yeah, you're the lieutenant. I'm stupid. Yeah, you're the lieutenant. You're the lieutenant commander. Yeah, so you do see Lieutenant Rodriguez approaching, sort of off behind Laddie.
Is
Constant Thoughtful Actions will like bend over and pick up your jacket and start papping the dust off and like shaking it out, and hands it to you and is like, oh, it appears he's arriving now.
Oh wow! Thanks so much. I just got this jacket and I like it a lot. Where is he?
I think right behind you. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir.
Hello, Lieutenant. Nice to meet you. Lieutenant Lottie Da, Lieutenant Commander Lottie Da, you can call me Laddie.
Nice to meet you, Lieutenant Commander Laddie. And you must be First Officer Constant Thoughtful Actions?
Correct. It is a pleasure to meet you, Lieutenant Rodriguez. I've heard very good things from Commander McAllister.
Well, I hope that I can uh, live up to them and perhaps exceed them.
We may yet make you a higher ranking officer yet.
By the way, do you want me to see if I can corrupt that footage for you? Seems like you weren't too pleased with it.
I'm sure it will be fine. As it has tended to be, I have not really been one for words rather than, well, thoughtful action. So I'm sure my actions will speak for themselves once we're aboard the Mariposa.
Understood, sir.
So, do we go to the Mariposa now? Because I'm raring to see what she's got under the hood, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Allow me to escort you to our vessel for the next. How long are we supposed to be going out there for?
So the thing is, this is not a mission that was given a time frame. That's the interesting thing, right? Because this isn't just it's our 5-year mission and we're going to go explore for this amount of time. It's literally like
we're going to go, we're going to find shit.
The nebula, the Shroud Nebula that has just suddenly dissipated completely, leaving behind an entire galaxy there. You just from a Cosmic Trust perspective, from the higher ups and what is known to the public as well is that there is essentially a satellite constructed by the Unala that is on the edge of Cosmic Trust space, as close as it possibly could be to the Shroud Nebula, that was programmed to detect any change, to take readings periodically and detect any change. So that was the actual thing that detected what happened in the first place. And now the Cosmic Trust elected not to just send a probe in because that could be interpreted as a hostile action by anyone who might be there. So they are instead choosing to rely on the preliminary long-range scans of this satellite, which detected about, I'm going to say, 3 planets within its radius, which is only a small percentage of the entire galaxy that has now been unveiled, that are potentially habitable, that have oxygen-rich climates, and that clearly are showing signs of life and population. So really, you're going to go out there, see if, get a closer range scan using the technology that is aboard the Mariposa. And if contact can be made, that is, if a level of technology is detected that would not be interfered with in terms of the development of whatever civilization, then you are authorized to make contact. And there are procedures for that. But no one really knows what you're even going to find or how long. You might not even actually be able to make contact with anyone. You might just be taking surveys and trying to stay unseen.
Your vessel for the next unknown amount of time. And so I think I bring us over there. I don't think constant thoughtful actions actually says much unless you put it forth first.
I think that Laddie will lean over to Rudy and be like, "So, Lieutenant, what has brought you to this mission? I'm just curious as to why anyone would want to leave for an undetermined amount of time to just go explore space beyond the fact that it's super exciting."
Well, turns out that I got a recommendation from one of the from the chief engineer, so it just seems a bit rude to turn that down.
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that. I mean, when you're selected cream of the crop, you gotta rise to the top. The cream always rises, right? Somebody laughs at his own joke.
Oh, I don't think that Rudy has ever encountered a person like Laddie before and is catching him off guard.
I just want to go fast and I want to go far. And not it could be in reverse order, but those two things have to happen, you know? And I want to see a lot of things. That's everything.
I
And to
can
see new
respect that.
things? What was that? Sorry.
Oh, Rudy would just say, "Oh, I can respect that."
Well,
Nice.
with the warp capability on the CTF Mariposa, I don't think you will be disappointed with going fast and far.
What about you, first officer? Did you you're on the command track, so you've been fixing to lead this mission for a while, I imagine.
Well, once I first learned that there was opportunity outside of Pondor, I've been fascinated with it. This is just another opportunity, if you will. In what way, they sort of actually do falter as they try to, you can see the water starts to get a little bit more turbulent again. What other way to help people than to explore and travel around?
People, places, things, I get it. It's all interesting.
Field commander,
Yes.
your body is, well, not just your body is like a mech suit and you're the water inside, correct?
Technically, I am the electricity inside the water inside the mech suit, but yes.
Electricity inside the water inside the mech suit. Okay. That's sorry, I just have never met a Pondu before, so that's insane. Really
Wow.
cool.
You will have the opportunity to meet more than just me, as I am not the only Pondu on the CTF Mariposa.
Oh, right. Why I ask in the first place? If it's not too too forward of me, do you mind if I have a chance to study your suit's blueprints, just in case something would be damaged while we're on an away team mission? I think I'm probably going to be the person that would have to fix it.
Of course, that seems most practical.
Thank you, sir.
It's about this time that you arrive back at the elevator that actually leads down to. You can take an elevator, you can also take an escalator, like just down into the first shuttle bay and then take the elevator from there. But you have a command code clearance, so you can actually go not straight to where you're going, because security here is that's the trade-off, right? Of having the ship parked here in a galactic capital is security is kind of important. So the elevator does not take you specifically there. An addendum, a secondary entire hangar bay has been built just for the construction of the Mariposa. The elevator does not leave there. You have to open up that separator. So you actually backtrack the way that Laddie came from just a couple hours ago. And then you head back down to that shuttle bay and you see actually Laddie's shuttle is parked there.
Oh, here's my shuttle. I just arrived on that 6 hours. I arrived at the time I was supposed to arrive. Days ago.
Is Laddie's shuttle gonna be integrated into one of the shuttlecraft on the Mariposa?
Technically, it's not supposed to, because it came from the ship that Laddie was previously assigned to. So once it's been refueled and checked out,
they're gonna send it back. Okay, got it.
Yeah. But you head over to that big industrial strength metallic separator. And there is a panel upon it that you can actually connect to remotely. just straight from the wiring of your, because you operate everything electronically, right? Like you have no mouth, you have no physical voice of your own. Everything is your electricity being used to operate your tank and then your mech suit that you're currently in. So that same ability allows you to tap into this sort of Wi-Fi, right? Like this Cosmic Trust Wi-Fi, where you can remotely give your clearance code to you can open doors, and you can, like, other people have to do that via the computer. You can access it directly through your suit or through your tank at any point.
Cool. How far can I do that?
How far can you do that?
What's the range?
Ooh, that's an interesting point. I would say you would need some modifications to do it out of, like, visual range. I think it's maybe, I mean, it's less than a mile for sure.
That's so fucking far, though. A mile is so far.
Well, it's
You're
however
gonna hack the planet, yo.
Yeah.
I'm not very good with distances, obviously, like distant spatial relations. But it is generally like, if you can see the ship, you can do it.
If I can see it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have this vision of we're walking up to this bay door that we're gonna have to walk into to get actually into the bay where the Mariposa is docked. And you two, being organic beings, would be used to, like, having to stop and input stuff, and I just keep walking, and the bay doors just, like, open, and it's like no one's done anything, but they just open for us, and I walk inside a couple steps to the bay door, and I stop and I turn and I gesture up towards the ship, and I go, "Gentlemen, welcome to our new home."
And you all see it in this moment, and you feel as that door opens, it slides open very dramatically and slowly, and it pulls aside, and you see it more and more and more, and it is the focal point. It is the only thing in this hangar. This thing was built to accommodate it. And you know, this whole place, Vertex City Station, it's the size of a very large moon. But it doesn't detract, because that's above you, that's away. The ship is so immense in scale, it is the size of a city. And it is so dominating in its own space that it becomes everything. It is the entire moment in time for you. And there's this strange sensation, this out-of-body sensation, as though you're kind of viewing it twice. Almost like projecting an echo of the future that is waiting for you. Part of you feels like it's already happened. You try to shake it off because it's superimposed over your body, like an after image. And then you feel the weight of the moment, and you chalk it up to the weight of the moment, because as soon as these doors open, everyone in the entire hangar, it's like bated breath every time they see this thing. And people have jobs to do. I mean, they're carrying cargo, and there are people who are coming in and out of here already, but everybody who's just the workers who happen to be here when the doors open, they kind of stop and just look as you see the CTF Mariposa in all of its glory. Now, it is so named because the shape of it does evoke a butterfly. It has a large, rounded, sleek, almost blue-tinted silver nature to it, with the actual name, CTF Mariposa, like printed along its side in this beautiful blocky text. And there are angular bits as well. It is this perfect symmetry, this gradient of rounded and sharp angles. So it has a bulbous, sort of hummingbird-shaped body that comes to a upward point, like a beak on a hummingbird. And a similar thing happens in the back, but it raises up and flattens out in the back a little bit differently. And then you can see that there are actually these wings that are currently folded up. And you know, because all of you have been studying the schematics and blueprints that you've had access to, trying to get to know the ship even before you've come aboard it, that the ship can actually, like, go into kind of a battle mode, or it can go into a more efficient flight mode. And it has various levels of warp sort of speed that it can access. So these wings can fold in and out. There are weapons that can come out, extra plating that can be applied. It is very much a transformative ship. And you're looking up at it. Feeling it wash over you, and the moment is sharply interrupted by a voice that is mechanically projected, like through a speaker, in the same way that you have been hearing Constant Thoughtful Action's voice. And you also hear a very faint repulsor hum as the source of the voice makes itself known. And you hear first, "Hello, field team, and hello, first officer." And your attention is sort of shaken, like you were pulled out of this moment. And you feel that after image sensation of seeing the moment happen twice. You're completely disconnected and like forget all about that because this voice is like right in your face. And you turn and you look and you see another Pondu in a sphere that is very similar, honestly, almost identical to yours. Pondu spheres are pretty standard. It's the actual bodies that they can sit on that are different. But the stripes that are on the tank itself are actually not particularly of any department's color. If anything, I would say that they are yeah, he's got some green stripes. There are green stripes just kind of around, and you see the rank is actually lieutenant commander as well, based on the number of pips on the little badge that is bolted, not to any robot body, but bolted actually to the metal of the tank. And the water inside, unlike Constant Thoughtful Actions, is actually shaped into a very simple emoji-like face. I keep using that metaphor, but for Pondu, especially for this Pondu, it's very apt. So you see just this perfect, like, you know, that like upside down triangle mouth, and just like big eyes, like, you know, that face is what greets you. And as the speaker speaks, you see that he actually does try to mimic with his like water mouth that he has made on his emoji face to match the words that are coming out of the speaker. And he hovers between and amongst you, and he goes, "Hello all, I am humbly seeking knowledge. I am the Chief Cultural Officer aboard the CTF Mariposa, and it is my humble duty to escort you around the ship today. Goody!"
Just really quick, I want to go back because this is like a big moment for Laddie seeing the ship for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like going through all the doors, Constant Thoughtful Action just opening the doors. He was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" You have to stop. And then he sees the ship. He's like, "Whoa!" And even as humbly seeking knowledge shows up, he like doesn't look away, as abrupt as that all is, because this is the most beautiful vehicle he's ever seen in his life. And so he turns to humbly seeking knowledge. He's like, we need to see everything right now. Like we just need to go to the whole ship. I want to see everything, front to back, top to bottom, in and out. You know.
"Oh, of course, my friend. I hope you don't mind me calling you friend. It is a bit presumptuous of me, but I do hope that we will get to know each other quite well as we work together in the future. Yes. So I am to escort you to all of the major elements of the ship now, but you, of course, your team can work together to determine where we'll be going first. I know there are a few things. In about 1 hour, Chief of Security Koti Ra is going to be holding a demonstration down in Triscadeca, which is our onboard city, which is very exciting. So that is something that I believe we should definitely go and see. And you can all, those of you who partake in such things, can enjoy some refreshments over at Cosmos. And yes, so we can do that in about an hour, structured activity. And then, of course, the captain is currently detained for the next several hours. So that's going to actually be the end of our tour today, is when the captain arrives. We'll head up to the command bridge, the main bridge, and see all that is to see, and meet the captain, of course. You've already met the captain. So now who else should we see? Well, of course, yes, Chief of Security, yes, Koti Ra, very, 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 very deadly and very wonderful, sweet person indeed. And our Chief of Engineering is chomping at the bit. Mr. McAllister has been talking non-stop about wanting to meet you, Mr. Rodriguez.
You're popular.
Oh, it feels nice to be popular for once. I'm very excited to meet him too.
Yes, I'm sure you should be. He's a very very laid back dude. Yes. Oh yes. Lieutenant Commander Laddie. Yes, I've read your
Yeah.
file. I know what you like to be called. Mr. Laddie, now, of course, it would be my pleasure to escort you around the navigation deck as well, so you can meet your commanding officer while you're on board the ship, Commander Zila.
Zila, yeah, we emailed back and forth a little bit. Yeah, I love to meet them. And see kind of what in terms of going on missions and stuff, what we're gonna be working with in terms of vehicular transport, you know?
Yes, of course, and of course, since the two of you have arrived a little late, still on time, but later than expected.
What do you mean?
Well, I will only mean to say that we should at some point today head over to the medical bay and meet with Dr. Fang, and you'll be required to do a basic medical checkup. Of course, you understand. I've already done yours, of course, Commander. And he just continues just rattling off, just rambling and rambling about all the different options of places that you can go and see on the ship. So we can reiterate those as well, so you guys can sort of deliberate on what order you want to see things in. But there's something I want to linger on with Laddie for a moment, because you specifically said that you are you kind of remain in the moment even when Humbly shows up. You're not cut off from being here, looking at the ship, feeling the weight of it. I'm going to ask you, what die do you have in Resolve?
D12.
A D12. Okay. So I'm going to have you roll a Resolve check.
The show.
And it is a difficulty of 10.
Okay.
Just to see if you pick up on something here.
I was gonna. No, that wouldn't work. I was gonna ask if I could use my tracking ability as the thing to notice minute details, but I don't think that is what tracking means.
Well, the interesting thing about this moment is this is one of those strange times where you don't actually know what you're rolling for. This is something that is perhaps happening around you that you're not trying to notice, but you have a chance to see because you're staying in this moment. And it's difficult. It's a high difficulty.
What's the DC?
10.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So you've got what, like a
5.
2 out of 12 chance. 5, you said?
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary. You're just kind of buzzing. You're aware of what Humbly is saying to you, but you're just in the moment of watching the ship, and that feeling from before really just melts away, and you're just in a state of admiration, whatever feelings you're feeling.
Wow.
Constant thoughtful actions is aware of how Humbly seeking knowledge can be when he gets excited.
Yeah.
And none of this is new information to them. So they're going to be looking up at the ship, visually inspecting it. And I think as Humbly just continues to ramble, as he do, they notice that one of the like signal lights that is used for like pulling in and out or maneuvering in certain spaces on the front of the ship is currently not on. It's not active as it should be. And constant thoughtful actions will turn to Humbly seeking knowledge and say, "Excuse me, Lieutenant Commander, I must step away for a moment." And you hear a little like, and their own little orb detaches from their body, which keeps staying standing as they were. It's very interesting to see because they were in their stereotypical like commander stance of their hands behind their back, and that body stays in that shape when they detach, and they up to the light, and they start like inspecting it. And I think near their little speaker communicator, a orange colored light sort of turns on, and they say, "Field Commander to Engineering, please let Commander McAllister know that one of the signal lights is currently malfunctioning. It is located around deck 4. And then they like back, and they back onto their robot body, and they turn to everyone and go, "Now, where were we?"
You actually hear a voice over comms come back through. And I guess you patched over because you can go directly to anybody that you want to specifically contact. But I guess maybe you went straight just to the engineering department, not knowing who was going to answer. And the voice you get back is a voice you clearly know to be the chief engineer, Commander McAllister. And you hear a chuckle come over the speaker. "I'll let him know, Commander. Done and done." And the light comes on in a matter of moments, back to its correct color.
Cool.
Well, first officer, if you're asking what we're doing, I think we're about to go explore this frickin' ship, you know?
Well, as one of the command crew, I've already had some time to explore the facilities. The water gets turbulent again. On my own and with my fellow senior officers. So I will let you two lead where we go first.
Back to front.
Back to front.
Humbly has not stopped talking this whole time, by the way. And I mean, he stops when like you guys have something to say or want to get his attention, but he's still just rattling off all the places that you could possibly go. And when you talked, Laddie, he goes, "Freaking, that's a human. Did that come from humans? Is that broken? Freaking, let's freaking go. Yes.
Let's freaking go."
And
this is my guy right here. I mean, my Pondu.
The ramp just yawns open, and this cool air, it feels like natural air. It feels like air from the outside. It very similarly to up in the city, where there's like a skybox projected that goes on a sort of a human daylight cycle. Back up in Vertex, that feeling of a simulated atmosphere, it's like crisper, it's fresher, and it comes wafting out of the ship. And you see the sort of white and silver interior of the, I would say the cargo bay is where you would enter if you walked up the ramp. And seeing now this interior stretch out before you and all the possibilities therein, you follow Humbly Seeking Knowledge up into the ship that will be your home for an indeterminate amount of time on this very exciting mission. You step up into the ship and the ramp closes behind you. So as you look around the interior of the ship, you notice that the walls actually mirror the curvature of the ship that you saw from the outside. The walls are kind of rounded, which not only make it seem bigger, but they have the effect that round angles do. They make it seem cozier, more comfortable, and not like this harsh sort of military thing, because this really is not a military thing. Despite the organization, despite the ranks, this is primarily exploration, discovery, diplomatic relations, if applicable, right? So that's reflected just in the basic construction. And you're looking around, you're starting out on deck 1. So this is the primary cargo bay. And the first 3 decks are cargo bays. So you are noticing mostly ensigns, people of the lowest rank on the ship, who are sort of moving cargo around on those kind of repulsor beds. They're bringing things up onto other levels. They're unpacking some of the crates and bringing smaller. You see some medical supplies being brought out. You might notice some weapons being brought out. But everything looks like it's like almost ready to go. Things are just being finalized. Mostly the cargo that's here are personal belongings for crew that are arriving now, like the last little wave of crew here. And you do notice that a lot of these ensigns, they immediately know who you are. You are the field team after all. And it's not just for Constant Thoughtful Actions, who is, of course, the first officer, but you guys are the dedicated field team, a specific, like you're still subject to the standard ranking order, and you still have the same commanding officers that you would while on board the ship, but your purpose is to be the first team, sort of jack of all trades team, who go out into the field when a mission like that is necessary, because the captain, of course, needs to be protected. Even though the captain, can handle himself, it's not the captain's job to go out first. It's you guys. And that gives you a certain sort of specialness that the rest of the crew, especially those of a lower rank than any of you, project. Some of you give you a little salute. Some of them just stop and like smile at you. There's a lot of like, hello, Commander, hello, good to meet you. And you see that Humbly is like, yes, much to do. Yep, Jones, hello, yes, hello, Mr. Kim, hello.
Anyone who like comes up and says hello and like introduces himself, like, I will like stop and introduce myself. So there's a lot of repeating of like, hello, I'm Field Commander, Constant Thoughtful Actions, what's your name? Mm-hmm. And then it's nice to meet you, and then move on. And then rinse, repeat mm-hmm. as different ensigns come up.
Yeah.
Laddie's used to like having some amount of focus on him being like a very talented pilot, but at this scale, he's not used to. I kind of misquoted earlier and said that he has constellations all over, which he does have constellation tattoos. But for some of the circular black vein spirals, which like there's some on his cheeks, they're tattooed like galaxies, so little planet dots or whatever. And as more and more people introduce themselves and like know who he is, it starts to just turn a little bit red as he blushes.
Rudy he'll be the laid back one of the group at this time. So he'll just kind of be like, oh, hey, I'm Rudy. Nice to meet you. Good to work with you.
You guys notice as you make your way through deck 1, through the first cargo bay, as you get over to the elevator, you notice that the doors are quite wide, and they are automatic. They slide open. But they are a very wide, tall door. They're like 9-foot tall doors. And
I wonder who those are for.
Of course, yeah. The reason for this is because one of the races of the Cosmic Trust is the Unala, who can be, over 8 feet tall and have wide antlers that stick out. So the ship accommodates that. So to any of you who are, of a humanoid proportion, which is 2 out of 3 of you, and then you're close, right? You're not how much taller than a human is your robot body?
Probably not that much taller. I probably hover around 6'3", around there. So like tall for a human, but not like the tallest person ever.
So you're human scale.
Yeah.
So even to you then, like, it might not hit you the same way because of your tankness of it all. You're used to having like 360-degree control of your environment. So I don't think height is something you really would think about all the time. But they're big doors.
Oh, and they're big.
You step into the elevator and the door closes, and you hear a voice come to life. And it is the computer voice, which you are familiar with because you've been on the ship before. You guys are aware of, you have heard about, but this is the first time you are meeting. It's one of the features of this ship that is cutting edge. Everything about this ship is on the cutting edge, truly. It's the first of its kind. It is the biggest, the fastest, the most comfortable. It has a city in it. It's truly remarkable. But one of the more remarkable features that has been advertised is that the AI, the onboard computer, is incredibly advanced. And you hear the voice come over the speakers in the elevator, and it says, "Welcome, Commander and Field Team. I am Amos, the artificially intelligent Mariposa operating system. Is there anywhere on board the Mariposa that I can bring you today?"
May I suggest that we inspect your personal quarters first, just in case amendments need to be made, and it will give the appropriate people in charge time to make those adjustments.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, sounds smart.
Of course. Please specify whose quarters you would like to see. And humbly takes over and hovers between you and goes, "Oh, yes, as the first officer, of course, your quarters are going to be on deck 11 with the senior crew quarters. And for you both, you will be on deck 15 in the more standard crew quarters. But still very, very, very wonderful. There's actually really not a distinction. Like we don't just give people bigger rooms for the sake of it. They're actually it's simply to have everyone of a certain rank on one. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess us peons will just be in deck 15 then.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go see. It feels weird to be like, I'm gonna go see the first officer's room and then my fellow officer's room. I can just go in my room. I don't want to invade anyone's privacy or whatever.
What, you don't want to start out having a nice pillow party or pajama party?
I always aspired to have a pajama party, but I didn't have a they don't do that in the military a lot.
I mean, we're the field team, though. We can do whatever we want, as long as it's within regulations, of course.
All right, well, I'll get my pajamas out. I got the whole wardrobe. That's one whole crate out of 20 that I have. We'll do the pajama party.
Very good. Deck 15, if you please. And the elevator silently begins to move up. And the doors open out into a long hallway, and you see that it turns at various angles. So it's a series of hallways, and there are other crew members here as well who are sort of walking around. You'd mostly notice that belongings down from the cargo bay are being brought up into the various rooms. So people are currently, finalizing like the decoration of their rooms and placing their belongings where they want to. And now I guess I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you guys want your quarters to be across the hall, like your doors are facing each other, or do you want to be next door? Because it would, I think, be one of those.
I think I like it across the hall because I like the idea of us exiting at the same time and being like,
yeah. That's cute. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys can open up the doors to your rooms if you go separately, or we'll describe them one at a time. Any preference? Who wants to go first?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Oh.
One more time. 1, 2, 3.
It's gonna happen again. It didn't happen again. All right. So Laddie, the door opens and you see that your belongings have already been brought in here, but they have not been unpacked because that's for you to do. So I will leave it to you what we see in your room, like what objects have been brought in that I guess are not like in a box.
Well, what does the standard room look like? I imagine they're all standard rooms.
Yeah. There's not like special extra big rooms or anything, except I mean, the captain's quarters are probably pretty big, and they do adapt them specifically. For example, constant thoughtful actions room as a Pondu, you have like really advanced environmental controls so that you can safely exit and your water form can like be around freely. You probably even have like an empty pool in your room that you can get out and like hang out in outside your tank.
What if
So you don't have that.
What if
But what does a standard room for a humanoid look like?
Yeah, what if there was like a sort of survey sent out of like, here is like decorative, like we can paint your room to have this color accent wall or sort of thing, and there was sort of some
like customization,
low level customization.
Yeah, there can be customization. You could have, I guess, asked for colors and such.
Yeah,
but
just because it's like we're gonna be here for an indeterminate amount of time.
It's basically like a really nice 2-bedroom apartment. You get more if you are, because there are people who come with a family. So there are some people who have like their quarters are big enough for their family. But you are one person, so you have one pretty sizable bedroom, you have living quarters, you have a little kitchenette area, and then you have a smaller like office space room that you can use for whatever you like.
Then I think it's just there's a bunch of crates, like way too many crates for what could feasibly fit in this room. It's 20 crates, but they're like big, and they all say lad on them in really, really big, like graffitied letters. There's some furniture that's been brought in that's all kind of like formerly regal, kind of aristocratic furniture, but it's all definitely been bought at a thrift store, and it's all chipped and kind of stained and stuff. And there's like grease stains on everything from him just working on chips and stuff. And I think maybe there's a little workbench that has different multi-tools on it. And in the bedroom, maybe some light accents from like his family. He grew up on a moon of Unal primarily, so like some stuff from home. That both from his family, who was originally on Thrall, and then some little bits and bobs from his dad's mechanic shop on one of the moons of Unal. Actually, that's probably where the bench comes from, is from his dad's shop. So it's like this piece of home far, far away from home.
Awesome. So you guys see this room? Yeah.
Well, I would like to
Don't look at my stuff.
I would like to make it clear that I don't actually look inside. I stand outside, and I think also if there's like, you know, ensigns or whoever a couple doors down that are like struggling with crates and things that they're bringing into their rooms, like I go and I offer my help to like help them carry stuff, because I got a big strong robot body. So I'm not actually looking in either of your guys' rooms for the aforementioned reasons that Laddie said, of like, it is kind of weird. Just a little bit weird.
Rudy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Joe Biden moment. I guess for Rudy's room, like in the main room that when you first enter, you see like a majority of it is like a workshop. Like there's like a stand where there's like what looks to be like an exoskeleton with a bunch of bits and bobs, and it's currently like hooked up and ready to be like worked on and tinkered. There's like a big workbench that occupies like 3/4 of the room, like right next to the kitchenette area. Like it's all very organized, but it is clear that he is like set up his room so that he could work on projects if he wants it to. Inside that like secondary like guest bedroom, there is more like work areas, but it seems like more reinforced in case anything he makes there goes wrong. So So that's where he does like the more dangerous stuff that he should probably just do in engineering or something, but it's fine. And then in his bedroom, I think it's just like very normal bedspread and stuff. And I think that's like where a majority of his like things that you would expect like in the main room to be, like entertainment and what have you, is in there, simply because he doesn't have space or doesn't want that stuff to get damaged. But as he's like inspecting that everything is where it needs to be, he'll go over to like a box that has like yellow caution tape on it, and he'll just kind of pop it open, and then he'll take out a canister and be like, that's good. Hey, laddie, catch. And he'll toss you it.
Can I roll for this?
Sure. That's gonna
would this be on, or would this be flight or fight?
I think it'd be flight because you're reacting.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So flight, and you're tossing a canister?
Yeah.
What die do you have in flight?
D20.
Oh, you have a D20 in flight? So I'll make it a difficulty of 10, so you can take half if you want to just auto succeed without special. That's a mechanic that exists in this system.
I'll just take half and succeed.
Okay, so you just grab it out of the air. Nothing fancy about it. You just see it in time and get it.
I forgot. I have an university point because I failed in my interview.
That's also true.
Brah, let's go.
Something else we do is every time you fail, we fail forward, and you take an adversity point, which you can then spend on a future roll or give to someone else if you can explain how you are aiding your ally.
I look at the canister that Rudy just threw me.
Yeah, what is that thing?
It says like in big, bold, black letters on like a yellow background, caution, highly explosive. And I don't know how aware you are, but like if you would have the knowledge, you'd figure out this is like a compound used in like starship grade like torpedoes that he just has.
I feel like Lad would know that. Since he flies so much. And has worked at like on like military ships. He's like, you just have this.
I just have that. It's for my special projects.
Is this for me to keep?
Oh no. I just wanted to freak you out.
As you say that, there's just something I want to put forward here. As you say that, the question of, is this something for me to keep? And you say no, something catches in the back of your mind that doesn't quite reach your voice just for a moment, that has the potential to distract you. Let me ask you, Ben, what do you have in Resolve?
I have a D12.
You have a D12 in Resolve. Okay, I'm going to have you roll a Resolve check, completely unmodified, difficulty of 10.
Okay. Let's hope for 11 or higher, or a 1. Oh! That's a 9.
A 9? Okay.
A 9.
And Eric, you can roll this as well, actually, in this moment, because you see the hesitation.
Resolve? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have some model ships in my room. I could put it on this on those things, and then they could go like super fast. 4.
4, yeah. You don't even notice, honestly. You don't even notice anything weird. But
gotcha.
Rudy, that catch it's sort of like the answer of no comes to you, and then you want to question it. Like, well, maybe. No. You don't. It's fine. And you really honestly think nothing more of it. It's just your conscience going like, should I be giving these away? Nah, whatever. And the moment passes.
What the
fuck?
Number 1, what the fuck? Number 2, constant thoughtful action comes back and looks at this canister and says,
it's a bomb.
It's not a bomb yet.
Judging by the fact that the security team allowed this on board. I can surmise that they felt it was not that huge of a risk. However, if you do anything that puts this ship, this mission, or the crew in danger, you will be relieved from duty.
Okay.
I
You put it down
understand,
very,
sir.
very carefully.
Besides, if I break anything here, I'd be the one that has to fix it. And he'll pick it up and put it back in the very safe box.
You see the water inside as I'm saying this starts to like slowly turn into a little water whirlpool.
Cute. But also distressing. There's something I was gonna ask, and it's fully flying in my brain, so it must not have been that important.
Well, at that moment of space, I will say that Humbly's been actually giving you a little bit of space to look at your rooms, but he just slowly, like, if you can imagine in the door frame, outside in the hallway, like at an angle, the orb just kind of goes. Shall we choose our next destination?
Sure. How about we go meet the man who's has a crush on Rudy? That was a
Oh
joke.
no, he hasn't been crushed at all. Actually, we have a lot of systems in place, and he's very dexterous. Yes.
Well, let's go see what he's all about. Michael McAllister?
Correct.
Yes, Commander McAllister, yes. Though
Commander
I
McAllister.
should warn you, he is going to insist on calling him Callie.
Callie.
That's a matter of formality, of course. That's personal directives of friendship and such. And oh no, do that better. And he hovers you back over the elevator and brings you actually back down to deck 6. And you step out and you see that this is less about hallways and more one big open space, a segmented sort of machine shop area where there are certain walled off rooms that you can see that are people's offices or storage areas. But the thing that stands out the most is, from what you can tell, closer to the back end of the ship, over on the other end opposite the elevator, is this just massive, glowing, almost bubbling, swirling blue and white, glowing liquid gas plasma that it's constantly moving and changing shape almost unknowably in this big glass looking tube. But again, this isn't glass. This is practically a transparent metal alloy that has been developed over generations. Another of the technological innovations of the future. And you know very well that this is the heart of the warp engine. And there are elevators that lead up as well, but they're not contained elevators. They're open elevators that lead up to the top sort of graded floors of the second level. You can see various engineers are just hard at work. And you notice that there is a particular console with a screen display, and it is just displaying a series of like light fixtures. From what you can tell, is it's monitoring what lights are doing the same weird light thing that happened to your other one. And you see a pair of legs sticking out from underneath this console, and you hear this like sort of a not quite a clanging, but just somebody working below. Out. No, it's good. Yeah. And you also notice that there is a glass that is half empty of some sort of brown liquid sitting on top of the console.
I sort of walk up and I say, Commander McAllister, would you require any assistance with that?
I just got about squared away here. Having a little bit of a problem with the lights, which you're pretty familiar with from your encounter outside there, Commander. Here, let me and he slides his way out, and you see that he is clearly an organic human, but he has his 3 pips of command rank. He is wearing the same shade of orange that Rudy is, but you notice that his tunic element is unzipped, and you can see the gray undershirt underneath that's like sweaty, and there's some oil on it. And he's got a little bit of oil on his face, and he takes a rag and starts wiping himself down. He has just a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow. It's like he's the kind of guy who, even if he shaves clean, he's still going to have a little bit of shadow in like a couple hours. He has long, like shoulder length shampoo commercial brown hair. Even despite what he was doing, his hair has remained pristine. This like shining sort of chestnut color and these big brown doe eyes to match. He looks like a man in his maybe mid 30s. And you know immediately from reading his profile, and you know because you know him, that this is Commander Michael McAllister. And his eyes sort of trace over all of you guys, but they land on Rudy, and he goes, well met there, Lieutenant. And he takes his glass of unknown brown liquid and takes a swig of it. I was hoping I'd get to meet you today.
The pleasure is all mine, Commander.
Oh, you ought to get yourself familiar. How do you like the look of it?
It's big. I'm excited to get this clean uniform all dirty in it.
Yeah, well, I'm still, I'm most of the way done with this weird light situation we're having. I'm pretty sure I can get it squared away in the next 20-ish minutes, but you're happy to take a crack at it if you'd like to.
Well, don't mind if I do then. And Rudy will happily.
So you can go ahead and make a brains roll, and if you have any mechanical or engineering skills that you can add to it as well, this is going to be a difficulty of 10. To get the lights fixed.
I remember something I was going to ask earlier. Do Ben and I get adversity points for failing the rolls that we failed previously?
Yes, you do.
I failed 2. Do I get 2 points? Because I failed
Yes.
looking at the ship and then looking at Ben. Okay, cool.
Correct.
Hell yeah.
Correct.
As we watch Rudy start to like get down underneath and start working, I think McAllister and Constant Thoughtful Actions are like shoulder to shoulder, and with like without turning their little orb head to look at him, they say, "You missed an oil smudge on your right temple."
Yeah, well, the body is a temple, ain't it? And he rubs it away. And he goes, though I have heard grease is good for the skin, occasionally.
That's an 18.
Oh, fuck.
18. So with a difficulty of 10, you are above that 5. So give me a little bit of a flavor here. I am going to tell you exactly a little bit more detail about what the problem is. But in terms of you fixing it quickly, what does that look like?
Well, can you tell me what the problem was so I can flavor out?
That's fair. That's fair. So there's a weird thing happening. Now, you can solve the problem light by light, but you actually bypass, and you notice Callie was kind of on his way to the same solution. He was setting it up so that the AI of the ship, the actual computer, will copy the work he did to fix one light and then do a cascade sequence to fix each light in turn. That will then patch up the entire system. You make it so that adding on to that, it actually happens all at once. But what you realize is that the actual root cause of the problem, there's kind of a strange, almost like a phase variance. There is a electrical interference, like the ship is getting signals that were never really there. There is the after image of a code reaction to lights going off. But the actual code or interference that would have made the lights go off never happened. So it's as though they were reacting to nothing. And the problem seems completely contained to the lights, and you've got it completely under wraps now. But it is a very, very strange thing to see that there's just like no reason for that to have happened.
Then I think that Rudy, if it's possible, he'll just like kind of take that out and then put a new one in. And he'll just present that to Callie and be like, might want to get this checked out, sir. There's some stuff that I'm not really sure what was happening, but yeah, that's not normal. Well, maybe it is for the state of the art shit, but
he rubs his chin and he looks down and he pulls up the display and he looks through that sequence and he goes, well, I'm not seeing it in any of the other systems, but it is odd. There ain't no reason for that. Now, I wouldn't say it's cause to be incredibly concerned, but hey, science team, can we get a level 12 diagnostic on all systems? I know, just bear with me. Yeah, we'll get that squared away. Nice work there.
oh, thank you. I'm glad to prove you right already.
He reaches over and he takes another swig of his drink and he goes, can I offer anyone anything? We do keep a mini fridge down here.
Oh my God.
What do you guys have?
Well, and he walks over and he opens up the mini fridge and you see cans upon cans of cola. There's like no other type of drink in there. And the mini fridge itself is very weird. It's like, it's kind of just been rigged up. Like this is just a shitty mini fridge from someone's house. And it's still like a mini fridge of the future, but how much better can mini fridge technology really get? You know, it's a box that gets cold, but it looks like he has like plugged it into the actual engineering system. And so it's just here, and he opens it up and there's just cans of cola, but then he actually like pulls it out like there are drawers inside, and you notice just bottles and bottles of various mixers, and he pulls out the little bottles one by one, and he reaches up and there's actually like a fortified cabinet with a bunch of glasses, but they're not actual glassware. It looks like he has glasses and mugs made of that transparent metal alloy so that like if there's turbulence they don't shatter. And he goes, now I can make you all manner of exciting mocktails. That is the perk of working in my engineering department. We do have our own well-stocked bar situation here. And he shows you like cherry syrup, vanilla, orange, like special, like imported. These are like fancy, expensive little bottles.
That is all wildly impressive. I'm gonna wait for the alcohol, but I appreciate that. And if I need a sugar rush right before mission, I know where to head.
His brow cocks for a second
Sir.
when you say you're going to wait for the alcohol. And just for a moment, he chews on the inside of his cheek and he turns his head kind of away, moving his face completely away from any of you, and looks back at the view screen. He goes, oh, well, that's your prerogative. Diagnostic is well underway. And he turns back to you with this big smile back on his face. And he goes, well, it is lovely to meet y'all. And I truly do look forward to working with you in more detail. I do have a lot of work to do here, though. And I imagine you have a lot more ship to see and things to hear about. And he chuckles in the direction of Humbly. He goes, yes, I do say a lot of things.
Before we go, Commander, just a question for you. I'm young and of kind of a low rank to be on the field team. I just wanted to know why you would put a recommendation in for me.
No. maybe I also have a soft spot for constant thoughtful actions. And he smiles at you and he goes,
What? Okay.
people who put others first, especially in this line of work, age ain't really a factor. We need a lot of different perspectives on a trip like this. Say we do meet somebody out there, rearing to know what we're all about. Ain't nothing ever good come from a society whose core ideals come exclusively from those of an older age bracket. You need a wide spectrum. Hell, you could have been 17, done what you did, and I'd have still been fighting for you. Now, that being said, there's still room to prove me wrong. You can mess up, but you deserve a shot. Figuratively speaking. And he takes a drink of his drink.
I'll aim to prove you right then, sir.
Well, it ain't me you gotta prove to. It's whatever's out there. And, well, Captain. But I find him to be an agreeable sort of fellow. And he smiles knowingly, like, of course he likes the captain. Like, he's not going to say bad stuff about the captain in front of the first
I
officer.
hate the captain.
Captain Stinky.
Was there a notable reaction to him using your name as a pun? Like that?
Roll a results check.
I think, like, the base state of my water is to like move with the movement of just like shifting. But like when he said that, it just like the water just went like perfectly still and remains perfectly still. And I say, well, thank you, Commander McAllister. We have much more to see, including Koti Ra's demonstration. So we should be going. And as they like turn to walk away, the water is still perfectly still as they walk.
Can I roll a brains check or a charm check to see why he reacted to me mentioning alcohol?
Yes, you can. I will call that a brains check. The DC would be lower for Rudy because he specifically was researching this guy, like his service record. So for you, what die are you rolling for brains?
D10.
D10? Okay, so you shouldn't be able to take half on this. It should take a little bit of effort to recall what this might be. And he's done some effort to keep it on the down low. I'm going to call it a difficulty 7.
All right. I got a 6. I'm going to burn an adversity point and push it to 7.
Okay. So with that 7, you think back to, trying to familiarize yourself, and something did actually catch your attention. You do remember there are elements that are a little bit vagued up, sort of missing periods in his service record, where like he was working for the Cosmic Trust and then he had a several year gap where there's nothing, like there's no record of what he did, and then suddenly he was back. And you see that there are various like psych evaluations and things and like approvals. So it's not the most public thing ever, but you know that something happened at some point, and you kind of put together the idea that maybe he had a problem with alcoholism back in his younger days. And that has colored his attitude on the subject now.
I'm gonna get that man drunk. Just kidding. That's a joke. He says this to himself. He doesn't really say this to the group.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Saving your hiney.
And then
Remind me what department you're in.
me,
What color? K color?
Blue.
Navigation.
Navigation. Okay. I think constant thoughtful actions will turn to you and say, "Shall we head to the navigation department?"
Please, I want to see the ships. I want to see how to fly them.
Oh, you're going to love Commander Zila. Yes. Just don't touch her console. Yes. Or any of her things or her wall hangings, or really maybe just don't touch anything until you're going to love it. Truly.
Golden rule, baby. I don't like people touching my stuff, so I don't touch theirs.
A good rule indeed, unless it's a potential threat. And so the elevator doors close. And let's see, you're currently on 6. So navigation is actually the next floor up. So
nice.
You go up to 7, very short elevator ride. And then the doors open and the vibe is immediately different here. In fact, there is a skybox on this floor, but it's not like, you're aware that you're indoors at all times. It's not like you're on Vertex and it's like, oh, I'm outside. Wow, but I'm actually in a bubble. This is like, I'm in a hallway and they're projecting space above my head. And you recognize some of the constellations, in fact. You might even see some that are specific to ones that you have on your body.
Yeah, he puts a hand up and there's a constellation on the back of his hand. And he puts it against the constellation that is in the ceiling as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, navigation does actually have hallways, but there are screens for operations to be done with touch panels all across the hallways. And there are people already working at them, charting, checking the course. But if you follow this hallway down, you notice that all of the hallways stretch out almost like a sun, with a big circle in the center with this console projecting a holographic display that can depict a planet. You can zoom out, it can show an entire solar system. You can zoom and zoom and zoom, and you do notice that it is cycling through, and you see the Milky Way galaxy where Earth resides, and you also do see the Ilias galaxy where Thrall and Unal, as well as all the moons of Unal, are located as well. And you see all of these are cycling through this central area as they seem to be just testing it, running through different charted space. These different navigational officers who are just overseeing. And you notice that there is one person in particular who is sitting at this command console, facing directly the hallway that is toward the elevator. Actually, I like it better if it's away from, because you do see this, and it's big enough that you can see this as you approach it, this central, starry holographic area. But there is this big swiveling chair facing away from you that has panels all around. It's like the ultimate gamer chair with screens all around, and there's this one person who seems to be directing, and you see a scaly, dark, crimson hand on one side, and the other side that's pointing is completely metallic and skeletal looking, like a Terminator arm of a bright sort of chromatic steel, and segmented, in a way that almost, it's designed that it makes a sound, which is a deliberate choice in this day and age. It is robot. Even more so than your body, honestly. And you hear a voice. All right, show me Milky Way again. Okay, that star, 0.2 centimeters off on the display. Get it? Can we get it right? Do we know? Have we taken this class back at the academy? Are we stupid? No, I didn't think so. I was under the impression that everyone here was chosen for their merits, which are extensive. So I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that 0.2 centimeters. Excellent. Now the star is where the star goes on the sky. Who is coming up behind me?
Commander Zila.
And the chair spins around, and you see a Kithrali woman. Now, this is the first Kithrali that we have encountered in this game so far. Kithrali, where Rokai are amphibian, they did evolve from the same, Rokai evolved from the Kithrali race. Very specifically from working in the electric swamps. So while you evolved the Rokai evolved amphibian, You can see the similarities in like the base anatomy, but you can also see a distinct difference. The entire skin texture, color are completely different. And you do see a deep crimson shade of skin, slitted sort of diagonal nose with a ringed piercing between the slits. You see a long forked tongue when her mouth actually opens to speak, and very sharp teeth as well. Just ever so slightly pointed ears, but not like pointed out and floppy like an Unala. They actually kind of point back slightly. And she has thick black braids. Her hair is otherwise shaved, but she has one braid on top and then two, like one on either temple. And then they're tied back and kind of explode out at the nape of her neck.
May I present to you Lieutenant Commander Laddie?
Lieutenant Commander Lottie, reporting for duty, Commander.
Well, looks like my day got a little bit more interesting. Another competent officer to add to the mix. And she gets up out of her seat and she kind of wipes her hands together. And you notice that she is like at her full height, she's probably about 5'7". Which is like maybe a little bit below average for a like it's within the margin of average for a Keith Raleigh.
It's my height though. I'm also 5'7".
Yeah, well, for Volkai, I tend to be a little bit shorter.
Yeah, for sure.
Too than a Keith Raleigh. So she is, she's of a height with you, and she meets you and she holds eye contact, not in an intimidating way, though she is, she is vaguely intimidating just from a look at her standpoint with the skeleton arm. And she does hold out very deliberately. You see the metal arm twitch, and it is her dominant hand. You notice that she was working with that hand before. But it twitches, and then she very deliberately offers you her left hand, her organic hand, to shake.
Laddie looks at her hand for just a fraction of a second, having not really interacted with a lot of Kith in his life, because of backstory that I'm sure we'll unpack at a later episode of Starlit Future. Whoops. Slamming my elbow against the table. But after a second, he goes, yeah, it's gonna be a pleasure to serve under you. I hope to be as competent as possible and helpful on top of that initial competence.
When she takes your hand, she goes for like the warrior, like up here forearm shake. And she goes, he's never done that before, so he like grabs her wrist by accident. Man, you better be competent. I mean, from your service record, I can only imagine that you are going to be. And there is like this sort of instinctual, like a tongue flicker, and a muscle at the corner of her mouth twitches in a very specific way, simultaneous with like the nictitating membrane that blinks horizontally. Yeah. I will readily admit I get vertical and horizontal mixed up sometimes. And they happen simultaneously, and you realize that it is that sort of Keith Raleigh language instinct. You guys would all know that Keith Raleigh, their language is based on the fact that they have extreme muscle control. They actually call it micromuscular control. They have control of their complete nervous system. And so they use subtle twitches that other peoples simply are not capable of even doing, because they don't have those muscles, or they don't have control of those muscles on such a microscopic level. And it still manifests in certain places. So it's like a little bit of Kithlish that she's speaking in this moment. And she shakes it off. And she goes, well, up here is all fine and good, and there's a whole sort of cycle of life with you guys walking around planet side, assuming that you actually do get to walk around planet side. I've had a lot of time to look at the preliminary scans of these planets on the outer edge of the Unveiled galaxy, and boy, do we have some interesting things in store. You and I are going to have a talk about that sometime.
I like interesting things. I like to think that I am an interesting thing myself. What kind of vehicles are we going to be using when we make landfall? Or what? I guess what will I be using?
Oh, I had a little bit of input on this, actually. We have a brand new state-of-the-art black vein fueled shuttlecraft that actually utilizes its folded, like manifold sort of wings, and it can go at a speed heretofore unheard of for a simple Cosmic Trust shuttlecraft.
Yeah,
I think you'll be pleased.
He's he's vibrating, truly vibrating in a he's vibrating in a manner that mimics kind of a cell phone where it's like he's just really excited.
But we try to be prepared for all terrain around here. I've been working over there with Callie down a floor below. I imagine you've probably met by now. Orange.
Yeah, we just
kind of gives you like a over to Rudy.
I think as like the conversation continues, there is an ensign who is continuing to star map, and I walk over and I lean down next to them in their ear, and through my speaker I whisper, "That star is 0.1 millimeters off. You might want to move it before she notices."
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Fixes it.
Well, I really look forward to working with you and for you. Maybe once we get all going, all steam ahead, we can sit down for more talks about what expectations are going to be for my role.
Yeah, well, over the next few days, I'm going to have you running simulations in the lit decks, learning how to pilot some of my babies before you actually get in them for real. I need to make sure you're not going to crash.
That sounds like it's going to be the best few days of my life.
We'll get you in a crab walker.
Time...
We'll get you in a skiff. We'll get you in a turbo skiff. We'll get you in everything. As much as you can handle.
He makes the face that I'm making, and he puts his hand out again to shake, the same one that she did, and they shake hands again.
So she goes for it again.
Yeah. Commander, I will catch you on the flip side.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? She turns back around and continues. All right, break's over. Chug your coffee if you have it. We got more stars to fix. You guys, that actually did kind of hurt. You guys make your way back to the elevator. Humbly kind of stayed out of that one. But you guys take point on that.
As you can see, she can be quite entertaining.
Yeah, I feel like we are two peas in a kind of fucked up pod, you know?
Actually, there are escape pods that are located on several different floors. You never know when you're going to need to escape the ship. Hopefully never, but, well, best to be prepared.
Yeah.
Pods, you see. Humor.
We're not going down with the ship. We're taking all wool ships and getting the heck out of here. I feel that. Where are we going now?
Yeah, you guys feel free to deliberate while I drink my water to fix my Kithrali throat.
Fix your throat.
Med nurse. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to go to Med Bay, and then we have Commander Ko's demonstration.
I think it's about, I think you have enough time to do like one more thing before it's been an hour and you have to go see that if you want to.
Should we go see the doctor?
Yeah. Scan me, doctor.
Doctor, please.
Heal me.
So Med Bay this is kind of funny. You guys are just going up like in order because the Med Bay is again the next one up.
Which
it's
I think
number 8.
Would make sense in terms of like I am field commander, so I know the decks of the ship, and like we're gonna eventually make our way to the bridge, I assume, just to see it. So like somewhat intentional. Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to we'll get to it. Yeah, but yeah. So again, you go up one floor and step out onto the Med Bay, which for all intents and purposes, does read like a hospital. And you do see a lot of people wearing white here. Yeah, and you do notice that this is like the most modified version of the outfit that you see, because a lot of them, they have white colored uniforms that look like your uniforms, but some of the higher ranked doctors actually wear like coats, like lab coats as well, that flow out behind them. And no one is, no one's been injured. No one is being treated right now. But you do see, a hallway of like various hospital rooms with, there's some of the windows are being tested. There are windows that can go solid for privacy and then become transparent. You see that there are like very well furnished, and like none of you are medical professionals necessarily. That's not your field. So there's a lot of technology in here that you don't fully understand, but have just like an understanding of. You see a lot of like big scanners, like walk-in scanners that you can actually go inside comfortably. There's a lot of like, I'd like to think as a claustrophobic person that in the future they figure out some like claustrophobia proof, like MRI scans and stuff like that, like ways to do that are, utilizing holograms or something that make it more comfortable for anyone. There are different accommodations, adjustable accommodations for the different like kinds of sizes. And then you see a bunch of things that are unique to like servicing transcended humans. There are a lot of like ports for transcended humans who don't choose to go on a normal sleep cycle like a organic human might. There are ports for people to sort of recharge and rest in like an expedited fashion, which requires a specific type of interface. And some people might have them in their rooms, but a lot of those are also here too. So you'll notice a couple of transcended humans like asleep, standing up in these like wall alcoves, which Rudy might have a reaction to.
And he'll be like, oh, people are standing here, but he doesn't have like a reaction to it. Just more of a, I didn't expect anybody to be asleep yet. We haven't even left dock.
As you're making your way down this hallway, Humbly goes, right, so Dr. Fang's office should be just over. And in the middle of the sentence, you see out of a door that is currently open, a full silver tray full of like implements, like scalpels and some like laser scanners and stuff. It comes flying out of the room and clatters against the wall on the opposite side. And you hear, no, that is specifically not what I asked for. Those are all absolutely the last thing that I would possibly want in my office. Do you not understand? And no one read my actual like entire list of my personal requirements for this very important space. And you hear, doctor, it's okay. It's all right. You have plenty of time to get things the way you want. It's not their fault that you arrived a little bit later than I don't want to hear that it's not anyone's fault. It's people's fault who are supposed to read things that didn't read things. Last time I checked, I was in charge of this deck. When you leave instructions, you kind of hope that they're going to be followed. Okay, can you maybe just go get me the correct? And you hear the other voice go, yes, doctor, yes, I will get you the correct implements that you asked for.
Like, not to like roast myself, but that's straight up me. Read the shit if you're supposed to read it and then do it correctly.
Laddie just walks up to the door and goes, hello.
So you go to step up to the door and you notice that somebody actually steps out kind of in your way. And you have that moment of like, sorry. And you see a woman who is a Nok Unala. So this is another sort of subspecies of Unala from the moon of Nok. And these Unala are the only type of Unala who do not have horns. So she is almost panther-like in the way that she looks. She's about 6'1", and she has those same cloven feet, the sort of back-turned satyr sort of goat legs, with a modified uniform to accommodate those legs. The Unala generally can't wear like boots or shoes or anything, so their uniforms cut out underneath, and you just see like the bottom, so that her hooves can come out. And you see that her hands are kind of padded. Her fur is very short. There's no big, long mane or anything. It's just one uniform, very sleek black coat. Her ears are short and come to small little points on either side of her head. She has big, bright yellow eyes, and she smiles at you with very sharp teeth, sharper than you're accustomed to seeing in Unala's teeth, because the Nock Unala famously did not evolve out of their what I don't know what the right way to say this is. Like, they all evolved
Carnivorous.
from a primary like hunter gatherer, like apex predator. Like their like early man phase was like a four-legged apex predator, and they evolved over millions of years. But the Nock specifically retained their fangs and claws more. So economically, on the moon of Nock, the Nock Unala are the ones who do a lot of the hunting and provide a lot of the meat for the Unala's economy. So she very much has those elements, and she's got her white robe on as well, or her white coat. And she sees you and she smiles and she goes, "Oh, hello. You've caught us at somewhat of an interesting time. Good to see you, Commander.
Hello.
How are you feeling today?"
As good as what the fuck is her name? As
I'm
good
about to.
as I've ever felt.
She goes, "My apologies. I'm being very rude. My name is Nurse Nava. I assist Dr. Fang. Are you here to see them for your checkup?"
Hello, and yes.
"Well, it might serve you to come back later, but actually one moment." And she turns back around and she goes, you just hear kind of mumbling. You can try to overhear what she's saying, but she's speaking quietly enough that she's trying not to be heard.
I mean,
I'll try to over here.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna hide it. Like, I'm gonna walk inside to where the clattered scout implements are and start picking them up and placing them back on the tray.
Okay. So you place them back on the tray. Yeah.
What do we roll for listening in?
For listening in, I would probably call that resolve, or an argument can be made for brains.
Let's do resolve.
Because listening in is kind of a moral judgment too, which is what resolve sort of accounts for. And that's why I changed it from grit, because I think this genre is like actions that are based on your ethical foundation and whatever your morals are. It makes sense to have a stat like that. So yeah, listening in is a moral judgment call.
I got it too, so I don't think I got it. But I lean over to Rudy.
No,
and
I was going to make it a difficulty of like 5.
Yeah, I got a 3, so Rudy feels that if he did, his life would be in danger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't
so adversity
think this
points.
person's gonna like me very much, Rudy.
I'll pray for you.
That's really kind of you.
As I'm picking up these implements, is there anyone else in the medical bay currently?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other doctors just setting up their particular like rooms and checking all the equipment and everything.
Is the door to Dr. Fang's office open though?
I think that Nurse Nava was about to close it behind her and then saw that you were trying to come in, knows that you outrank her, and so decided to keep it open.
So I'm there picking up the implements, and I go, no, doctor, if you just needed help with something, you could have paged me.
And you look inside this office space that looks like it has honestly been decorated by like standard. It looks like every other room does, but you notice that there are things that have been forcibly just torn off the walls.
Oh my God.
And you look over and you see sitting at their desk is a transcended human. I would say on the more male presenting side, but very androgynous. Their face is specifically designed to be made of hard angular planes. So they have like a polygonal face. The cheekbones come to points. The chin is like square and rectangular and almost a little bit like pointed out.
Handsome Jack.
Their skin is mint blue.
Green. Mint green. Mint is a green color.
Mint blue is a blue. It's like a light, fresh looking blue. There's a mint blue. Is there not? Is there no mint blue?
No.
I don't
Mint
think
is
there's
a
mint
green
blue.
color.
Somebody out there is going to know what I mean by mint blue.
I'd have
can't
your back,
make
but I'm
this up.
outnumbered here, so you're on your own, buddy.
All right. Fair enough.
I need to look up mint blue right now.
Light blue. You ever had like a light blue colored toothpaste?
This shit looks green to me,
But
but
mint is a green color.
Okay. Light blue. Very light pastel blue. How about that? They have a very light pastel blue colored skin with crystalline blue irises. And they have very neat white hair, not a hair out of place. In fact, the hair almost looks a little more deliberately artificial so that it stays in place perfectly without needing like any product or anything. And it's tucked back behind their ears, and they are wearing almost like a suit in a way. Their coat is a little bit more fitted to them, and it's buttoned in a specific way. And the collar of their uniform is unzipped just enough to be loose around the neck. And they're sitting there at their desk, sort of tapping at their temple. And they go, "Right, Commander, it's good to..." And they actually stand up and like straighten out their coat and go, "You wouldn't have perhaps brought me your field team so that I can quickly and efficiently add their scans to my database and not worry about it anymore?"
I would, and I would expect you to act professionally, not only with just me and my crew, but everyone else.
"Yes, sir. I can do that. That's fine. I don't mind. I can act professionally with the understanding that others might not meet me at that level when I leave specific instructions to my subordinate." "Yes, sir." As you see, Nurse Nava is looking at them like, "Come on now," like this very, almost, honestly, almost like a caretaking look of. And you start to gauge the relationship here, which you already know because you've interacted with these people before. You know that Dr. Fang is absolutely brilliant and is a good, kind person, but they are very particular.
Neurotic as hell.
The thing is, even within the transcension process, nothing gets like the autism spectrum will exist forever, right? And so when their consciousness was mapped, that's still very much a factor.
Shit stayed the same.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it works. The same amount, the same gradient scale of neurodivergence exists in the world of transcended humanity. And this is something that is like, they're very, very open about, but Nurse Nava very specifically is like this grounding, calming source for them. And together they work extremely, extremely well and are also very close friends. Mm-hmm. So this is actually a pretty typical interaction.
Yeah. This is also probably a pretty typical interaction that over the past week as they were like getting to know each other as well. But you will see sort of the water face, humanoid water face come back as Dr. Fang kind of like gets it together a little bit, and they'll say to them, I would be more than happy to oversee the procurement of your specific implements and requirements if that would put your mind at ease.
Actually, it really would. It really, really would. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry about the mess. Can you please not actually have that in here at all? Just hand it to Nurse Nava goes, I'll take it. And she leaves and gives you a little nod. And do the rest of you come in at that point?
I assumed we were already in the room.
Okay.
Hi, Doc.
Hi,
I,
Rodriguez, Law,
D, Laddie.
Laddie. Nicknames. That's fine. I'm still gonna go with Dr. Fang personally because I don't know you. It's not personal, I promise. It's not. I need to do some med scans on you. Simple stuff, a little bit of a blood draw situation. Don't worry. It's standard and also painless. Do I have your consent to do that right now? That is to say now plus the few seconds it will take for me to get my equipment.
You can do whatever you want, baby.
I won't go that far, but you can do that medical stuff to me.
Okay, I'm going to take that as consent. Please wait. Yes. And they turn around and they begin looking through the cabinets and they go, I don't know why I expected this to be in the place where I specifically said. I mean, nothing else was, so why would this be any different? No, of course the scanner would be in the second drawer, sixth from the left when I specifically, it's totally fine. I really don't mind. And they finally get their scanners. And, I also believe in a future where pain is mitigated and things are as clean and hygienic as possible. So the scans actually are very simple. It only takes a few minutes and they go into this expert mode. And you note that all of that tension and that sort of social anxiety, that all eases away once the work begins. And after it, they seem a little like their shoulders have relaxed a little bit and they go, okay, everything checks out. I will say, if you don't mind my saying in front of the rest of your team, the electrical current flow within your body is perfectly within reason for a Volkai of your age and build. Though I should note that your specific phase alignment, there is an echo as though your abilities have been used, like discharged recently. Have you in the last, say, 30 minutes?
30 minutes? No. 30 minutes times like 5 or 6? Yeah.
Interesting. Well, you do have a heightened level of control over your abilities, and that is reflected in the general circulation and your neuron patterns. Though...
Yeah, but...
it is something to note. I will put it in my log with an asterisk that says, don't worry too much about it, but be aware.
I like to call it supercharge because I supercharge things and they go faster.
Great. I imagine that would be very useful.
It is. Thank you. Thank you for noticing.
Can I help you with anything else, Commander?
No, that was it. Do try to relax. Everything will get sorted out, as it should. Even if it doesn't start how it should.
Okay. No, you're right. Thank you. I am in a constant state of trying. What I need is to succeed at a slightly better clear rate. So I'll work on that.
Well, it is because of your clear rate that you were selected for this mission.
That is true and appreciated. I'm going to retain I'm going to get a little bit more tense just because it helps me get things done faster. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to wind up just a little bit with you. If you don't want to be around here for that, you're free to just go if you want to, sir. But I am going to put everything in its proper place now.
Just try not to throw things.
No, that was the only thing that needed to just not be in this room. We're not cutting people. We're not animals. Everything else just needs to be rearranged.
Good day, Dr. Fang.
Certainly hope so. Hasn't been so far. And the door closes behind you as you walk out.
And the face turns back into normal water.
As we're walking out, Rudy will contact Commander Callie, and he'll say, hey, Commander, we just got scanned in a medical, and we got a weird phase thingamajig again. The doc thought that Laddie had used his electrical abilities, but in the past 30 minutes, but he hadn't. So I err on the side that coincidence is not coincidence, and maybe we should double check that anything weird hasn't been happening anywhere else on the ship, because it seems that whenever there's this brand new ship, this mega ship, something always manages to go wrong. So just a heads up.
2 points ain't a pattern just yet, bucko, but I like where your head's at. I'll keep a wary eye out.
Okay, bye, Dad. I don't do that. He doesn't do that.
It is about this time that Humbly, who is waiting clear on the other end of the hall, goes, oh, well, it's getting to be about that time. We should, if you care to catch the demonstration, we should actually head over to Triscadeca as soon as possible. We have only a few minutes. And a clock is projected on a little screen on his body. Or on his dome, I should say. Excellent. I think you're going to love the city. And as you begin traveling, let's see. This is up a ways. Yeah, so you're on 8, you're going up to 13. There are 18 decks total. You're going up to 13. So on your way to Triscadeca in the, few moments it takes for the elevator to reach it, your mind goes back to everything that you've heard and seen about this so far. I mean, this is the primary thing that was advertised to the public, that this mission would be unique because we are not only going to have this sort of stuffy interaction with anyone who might be out there, but we are trying to be a multicultural time capsule, this is who we all are and what we do, not just this organization, but all of us. So the idea that at the heart of this ship, there would be an entire city with businesses and restaurants and families and just people who were, of course, screened and selected. Background checks are run to make sure that, they were competent, good people who would be going on this mission. But it's still a big deal. These are just civilians who are going along for the ride, and they are the heart of the mission in a lot of ways. The idea is that when new people are brought on board the ship, they're brought to this place. So everything you've seen of it so far, little behind the scenes, little hints of, construction elements, been very hush hush. And as the doors open and you step out, cognitive dissonance takes the wheel, because the immediate reaction is, I am not on a ship anymore. The skybox is as convincing as the one out on Vertex City Station in general. And it is projecting at the moment a night sky, not actually like a daytime, because the whole city is lit up with this simulation of nightlife, and it's convincing. And there are buildings all around you, not skyscrapers. It looks like an outdoor mall. It's about the size of a large outdoor mall, and it has that vibe. And there are smells of food that's cooking. There's music. There are live performances. Just bustling city activity that is just alive here. and the elevator doors close behind you and remind you that you are still on a ship. But this one deck is the size of multiple decks. And the scope of it is more impressive than you could have possibly imagined.
Cool.
Wowzers.
I
I bet they got boosts here.
Oh, they do.
How am I gonna have to do maintenance on that skybox? That's and Rudy is just like running through like checklist of, okay, how are the bulkheads gonna seal if if there's a breach in the ship and it somehow gets into here? And he's just running through this checklist and like sweating.
How does
So
this
don't worry,
shit
that's not
work?
all on engineering. People on the science team will be taking care of the skybox whenever possible. It's only if it interferes, the wires get crossed. And, yeah.
This is much bigger than I thought.
The city.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking huge.
And concept thoughtful actions. You've been here already, but it hasn't been lit up like this yet. You've seen it like in its sort of daytime configuration and without the skybox turned on, but the screenings are done. Everyone is here who needs to be here, and this is like
Real.
This is like they're running what it's going to be like. Yeah.
Damn.
Nice. So where do we go to see Commander Ko's performance?
Well, Commander Ko is actually going to be putting on a demonstration over at Cosmos, which is run by Miss Cosmo, who is a very prominent figure on Vertex, actually. Historically has owned a nightclub called Cosmos and has created a second here. And so the idea that she's leaving at all and actually coming with us it's a very big deal, actually, that we've got her on board.
We're bringing the party along, you know?
It took a little bit of convincing for the captain to allow it. She has something of a reputation, but it's important, I think. She's kind of a staple and a comfort to the people of the Cosmic Trust. I mean, her food alone is legendary, but she's sort of spun it now. It's got a bit of a gaming, sort of recreational feel to it, as well as a very, very fine dining establishment and drinks, of course, if that's your bag, as they say. I don't know why anyone would put drinks in a bag unless you need to carry them somewhere. But I think of a million more efficient ways in a bag to carry a drink. But what do I know? I drink out of water.
I like to get in the bag with the drinks, and then it's just me and the drinks in the bag, you know?
I see a fairly large bag. Now, who would ever sell a bag that large? And he's just going off as he leads you down the street to this building that is all black, but is lined at every corner with purple neon light piping.
Yes.
And there is a glowing sign that reads Cosmos, but the apostrophe blinks in and out, so it occasionally says Cosmos. And the whole, like, the text goes from a gradient of like a pastel pink through the spectrum all the way down to a deep purple, and it cycles through that gradient constantly. And you don't really hear anything from outside, which lets you know that it's pretty well soundproofed. But as soon as the doors open, you immediately hear this very like futuristic orchestra playing. It is very much a dance beat, this like techno Daft Punk style, but with like the bravado of a full orchestra. It is a mixture of past, present, and future represented as pure vibes. There is a huge pillar in the center of the room that the bar is actually built around, and there are multiple androids like working the bar, and a couple of like actual people as well making the drinks, various like types of people working here, hanging out here, but very few uniforms down here for sure. And you notice that this pillar in the center is actually full of water, and there are bioluminescent fish swimming all in this big vertical pillar aquarium.
Amazing.
There are, again, these huge multicolored like tubes up where a stage would be, and they're projecting silhouettes of people dancing to the music. There's like a holographic orchestra playing as well. And there is a bit of a commotion. There is a line on the other side of the room where you notice that people are sort of starting to file in. A lot of people in the club in general are like making their way down there. And Humbly goes, "That's the gaming chamber. Yes, we're going to need to go that way."
We go.
So you head in there and you see that there is a full arcade back here with just like every type of game you can imagine. But at the very center of this room is like a mini stadium. There is a huge, what I can only describe as a ring in the center with seating all around. And inside that ring, you see that a performance has already just started. And you see projected are about 15-foot, well, maybe more like 12-foot holograms of two people in the ring. One of them is a transcended human with, I'm going to say, dark green skin and a bald head.
Hot.
With blue geometric line work sort of tattooed across or etched across skin. And he is currently shirtless.
Hot.
And just like preparing, it's like in like a boxing stance. And the other figure that you see is none other than Chief of Security, Commander Koti Ra, a fellow Vrolkai. So she is,
yes, ma'am.
She is
indeed.
She is actually kind of on the tall end for a Vrolkai. She's closer to 5'9" ish.
Step on me.
As all Vrolkai are, she is completely bald, hairless, kind of a long neck, and you can see that there are gills that can open and close on the side of her neck, as Vrolkai are amphibious, partially aquatic. And she has big, deep-set black eyes with glowing blue rings inside. That same slitted nose, but the patterning of her black vein, which is the substance that is it is an electrical superconductor and the primary export of Thrall and the source of a lot of conflict throughout the years. But the Vrolkai who have evolved working in those swamps with the black vein, it has integrated into their body, and which that's why you can see black vein under their skin at all times. So hers actually they stripe down across her temples and then through her eyes and slightly under, and then they sort of frame the slits of her nose, and she has a triangle under her very tight lipless mouth with these high cheekbones. And she is currently not wearing her uniform. It looks like she has almost like martial arts pants. She's wearing like black, loose fitting, flowing pants, no shoes. Her hands are wrapped in white. And you see that she's just wearing a simple gray tank top, you would be wearing underneath. She has not put on anything special for this. And while the other person is in, like, he's just in a boxing stance, Koti Ra stands there perfectly still with her arms hanging in front of her, stiff, but like ready to move. It's not a fighting stance that you would necessarily be accustomed to seeing from a non-Vrolkai perspective. And you see this huge holographic number display up above, say 3, 2, 1, and then they begin. And as they begin to fight, you notice that on each side of this big holographic display, you see the actual people who are fighting. They are not making contact with each other. They are in these little booths, and they have sensors that are bracelets on their wrists and ankles and temples that scan their entire body and mimic their movements perfectly, so that they are controlling these big holographic versions of themselves that are duking it out. But there are also sensors, so when a blow lands, they do react to it. So if your eyes flicker over to the actual fighters, you do see them kind of react to it. And you see a very fast fight. You see that this green individual comes forward and goes in for some boxing strikes. Kochi Ra barely moves. She just moves her head to one side, moves her head to the other side. He doubles back and she does not advance. He goes for a spinning kick, which she ducks under and then springs forward with a look of pure calm on her face. At no point do any emotions beyond that serenity that she is projecting cross her face or body at all. And she leaps up underneath this guy's leg, wraps her arms around, and then flips him over onto his back and just waits there. And then the countdown goes 3, 2, 1, game! Winner! Commander Kochi Ra. And the crowd goes wild, but they're also kind of stunned at what they saw.
The sound of metal hitting metal, like from my hands clapping together. The water in my bowl is like healthily like swishing around.
And as she steps out, her actual self steps out, you see that she grabs the coat of her uniform and zips it back up. She sort of towels herself off a little bit, though she's not really sweating at all from that. And she goes over to her opponent. You don't hear what they're saying, but you see that she places a hand with 2 fingers up under her jaw like this and bows, like above her gills. And she bows to her opponent. And he doesn't look upset or anything. Like, he probably knew he was going to get his ass kicked. She's known for this. And they shake hands, and she says something with this very kind but still really calm look on her face. And he walks away. He sees the first officer here, and he nods, "Sir," and moves away. And only then does she notice you. And she takes 2 steps forward, laces her hands together, sort of down in front of her at a neutral pose, cocks her head slightly, smiles politely, and waits for you to approach her.
Of course she does. We approach, and I say, "Commander Ko, I'd like to introduce you to my team. This is Lieutenant Commander Laddie, I should say, and Lieutenant Rodriguez."
I am very pleased to meet you both.
Likewise. I just so much so. Likewise.
I must say, I've seen some of your files as the Chief of Security. Of course, it is my job to know as much as possible about the crew aboard this ship, as well as civilians here, even in spaces such as this, which I am happy to utilize to educate certain members of the security team. It is amusing should some find this to be entertaining. I find no harm in such a display, though I will admit I do intend it to be educational.
I learned a lot. I learned not to mess with you at all, ever, and that I'll die if I do.
Oh, I shouldn't think so. I take life quite seriously. Though, if you would prefer to spar, the fact that you are not a member of the security team does not mean that I can't assist you with anything. In our spare time, of course, I would be happy to show you some things. The better trained... The more prepared our field officers are, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah. I kind of ate a lot this morning after landing, but whenever you have time to like do a sparring session in the future, I should learn, because I really know how to pilot ships, and I do that real good, but not fighting as much.
Well, I wouldn't want you to get disheveled anyway before you are to meet the captain. That would be inappropriate decorum on my part, though I would, of course, take full responsibility should such an eventuality occur. Commander, I trust that you have shown your team around many of the key areas of the ship.
Correct. We've seen multiple departments, including sciences, medical, engineering, all the relevant ones. Once we meet the captain, I project we will continue until the full array of the ship has been seen.
Excellent. Well, I plan on cleaning myself up a bit, but I will be happy to join you on the bridge when you meet the captain. And she says this to the people who have not met the captain. And she goes, I look forward to working with both of you in the future. Of course, Mr. Rodriguez, my offer of training is extended to you as well.
Oh, I'll definitely take you up on it, but not when Laddie is scheduled. He seems that he really wants to take in all the knowledge of those one-on-one lessons. But let me also extend my thanks for giving me the okay for letting me bring those experiments on board.
Well, they are quite essential to your experience. Background checks are equally essential, and your record is very clean and impressive, if you don't mind my saying so. A demolitions expert with no demolitions to show for it, with a record such as yours, well, that would simply be wasteful on our part. I only hope that you don't have to use them.
Me too. I generally just like to it's a stress relieving exercise mostly for me. Just sometimes it's useful.
It is my humble opinion that the most a security officer should strive for is an environment in which their services will not even be required.
I like her. Her? Right?
Yeah.
I like her. She's cool. She's a friend.
True.
Thank you, Commander
Sure.
Ko. We will see you shortly.
Of course. And Mr. Laddie,
Ma'am.
forgive me if this is perhaps an inappropriate subject, but your particular discipline with your innate electrical abilities intrigue me. I should like to know more about your methodology. Perhaps there's much we could teach each other.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I wouldn't call it a methodology as much as like a vibe. But vibes can be taught. And we can do vibe for vibe, fighting vibe for electric vibe.
Yeah, you as a Vrolkai, I would say you have a better gauge of like when you see a Vrolkai, how old they might be. Because you're kind of young, right?
I'm 27.
Okay. Because Vrolkai, their lifespan, for the audience's edification, a Vrolkai's lifespan, they tend to live into their 60s. And they reach maturity very quickly, like much faster than a human would. She appears to you to be approaching her middle age, but she is in prime physical shape. Like Vrolkai are very thin in general and very ropey, but she has like packed muscle onto her very lean frame.
Yeah, she's probably like a little bit older than me then.
Oh yeah, quite. Yeah, she's probably approaching 40.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. So yeah, I salute her again, and then begin to follow the rest of the team out.
Until next time, field team. And she bows to you.
Real quick, have you noticed any phase irregularities while you're doing the whole holograph thing?
No, I can't say as I have. I think that would be a question for the science team and, of course, for Callie and engineering. Though I have noticed the strange flickering of the lights earlier. Okay. I was under the impression that that was squared away.
Yeah, it's squared away. Nothing to worry about. Bye.
You leave her behind and head back through the city, back toward the elevator. It's been some time. You've explored around, and Humbly gets a comm from the bridge. I would say probably from an ensign at the helm. It says, Lieutenant Commander, the captain is on the bridge and is requesting the presence of the field team at their earliest convenience. Oh, thank you very much, Ensign. Well, if you'd like to meet the captain, he is ready, it would seem.
Let's do it.
Excellent. And you head down from here, actually, because Triscadeca is on deck 13. The main bridge is on deck 10.
Got you.
Closer to the center of the ship. The most strategic place for the bridge to be.
Not clowning on any particular properties at all.
I think the bridge is toward the center in those properties most of the time. I think. But who knows? I don't even know what we're talking about. So, you guys head down, and the doors open, and you immediately feel the energy change. It's an echo of that moment from before. And you see all around you are displays lining the walls. You see a room on the opposite end that is probably the captain's personal meeting room, his private chamber, that is off from the bridge itself. You see the view screen that's currently it's not on screen mode, it's on windshield mode, so you can just see what's directly in front of you, which is a metal wall outside the ship. And you notice there are a lot of ensigns, there are helm officers. You actually notice that Lieutenant Commander Sally Park, who Laddie met earlier, is currently at the helm. And you see he is currently running diagnostics on the helm, checking all the piloting interfaces. And there's an ensign on the other side, kind of running navigation as well. You see diagrams of the ship. You see people checking different, it seems like that level, that high level diagnostic that Callie asked for is still in full swing. It takes a little while. So there's a lot of people working on that at the moment. And finally, you see standing with his hands folded behind his back in a similar manner to something we've seen earlier.
It's
an image.
It's instinctual for me to assume the same position.
Laddie specifically, you saw a 20-foot hologram of this man. And yet somehow, at 8 feet tall, he seems bigger here when he's real. That image that you saw before, it was almost like a stock image. Something about it hit you like it was taken from some old thing in Photoshop to look more real. But you know this man's service record, all of you do. He's not a military man. He is a trained martial artist, but he is an accomplished diplomat who fought hard for peace with words and actions back at the end of the war with the Kithrali and during it. You know that he's been an advocate for Pondur to have complete self-determination. He was around during the decision to when the Pondu were first accidentally created by the Unala, and the decision had to be made whether they would be allowed to continue to make more of themselves. He was there and very publicly advocated for the Pondu to have full self-determination to control the future of their own people and join the Cosmic Trust only when they were ready and not push them. All of these accomplishments are just ringing out in your mind, and none of them measure up to this man who's just standing here as he turns his face on this thick neck and smiles at you. And you see that he has that ginger mane that is shaved around and then just has that big, like, bushy mohawk that comes back behind his head. You see that the mane does actually start around the jawline and forms this big beard. And the beard comes down and is tied off with multicolored beads, and then very neatly falls down at about chest level. And you see that his Cosmic Trust badge is gold, indicating, along with the fact that there are 4 pips next to it, that he is the captain. And the silver jewelry dangling from his antlers just gently twinkles these light sort of chime sounds as he turns his head. It's like this light fairy song that seems to follow him when he makes fast movements. It seems like it almost forces him to make slower, more deliberate movements. Like he wants to make an impression with that sound. It's pleasant to the ears, or whatever you have that allows you to hear. And he steps up to you with his purple uniform, and you hear his clompy hooves against the floor. And he has the biggest, just Santa Claus smile on his face as he looks at all of you, looking down only in the literal sense because he's 8 feet tall. And he bows at like a 45-degree angle to you, but he keeps his chin up so that he's looking at you, not baring his antlers, which, you know, if you know Nala culture, going into a headbutt motion is very disrespectful for them. So when he bows, he keeps his face just staring straight ahead. And he says, "It is my greatest honor to finally see you aboard the bridge. Welcome to the CTF Mariposa, my new friends."
Sorry to be here, sir. Looking forward to working under you.
I won't let you down, sir.
No, I don't expect that you will. Each of you were handpicked for a reason, for several reasons, in fact. No matter your age, level of experience, you have all proven time and again that you are right for this mission, a mission into an exciting unknown. First Commander, I trust that it's been a fruitful tour so far.
It has. Certainly enlightening on multiple levels.
Quite. Well, I would personally like to accompany you for a while. And he sighs very deeply, and when he takes in that breath, his breath capacity, like he has this huge just barrel chest, so that breath, it's long. It's like, he just keeps taking in air, and then it comes out in this long breath, and his sort of nose slits on his muzzle, they kind of flare up with the effort of it. He goes, "I understand the need for interviews, but between you and me and everyone on this bridge, I would have much rather been here trying to make this place a home. If there's anything else you'd like to see, I have about an hour free if you'd like to." And at that moment, there is an alert coming through. It's not like this red alert. It's not which you all know. You've seen, you know what the red alert is, like this big blaring thing. There's just a beeping. It's doot, 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 and it's coming through multiple consoles. You notice the helm officers, including Miss Park, begin checking it out, pulling up holographic displays, and Lieutenant Commander Park actually turns around to the captain, and he immediately he straightens up and he turns his head toward her and cocks an eyebrow. And his eyebrows actually come to these like bushy sort of triangular points at his temples as well. So when he cocks them, it's like a really dramatic gesture. He goes, "Lieutenant Commander." And she says, "We're getting an urgent message from Admiral Yularu, sir. He's saying that Cosmic Trust is receiving a signal. They don't quite understand what it is. It's on a frequency hang on, we're beaming it down to the science team. And then he reaches over to his comms and he says, Toofty, any updates for me? And you hear a voice come back through that says, one moment, sir. And after a moment, everyone is just like looking at the signal. Okay, I have it for you. Would you like me to play it? Ensign, play it through the speakers. And you all hear this sound. It almost sounds like whale song, but orchestral whale song. Like there's multiple voices, and they're all layering on top of each other, voice after voice. And it elicits a response. And I need everyone to roll me one final resolve check at a DC 10.
Oh.
And adversity points cannot be spent on this because you don't know what it's for.
I rolled a 10.
Crit, baby. Oh, I exploded.
Exploded!
Oh, shit. Let's go.
Holy shit.
Again.
I did too.
Yo. Oh. Did he really?
What a way to end the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. I got a 21.
A 21. So
God
that is
damn.
5, 10. So you got 2 entire levels of 5 above. That is
Yeah.
outstanding. Ben, what did you get?
I got a 14.
14. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not all the way up to a full level above, but it's still like met the DC.
And I got a 10.
And you got a 10. So you see it.
I passed. I got it.
Thank God we all
B
passed.
minus.
As you are all listening to this sound, something connects, and all of you feel that strange sensation that you felt earlier today, the one that you all wrote off, of the out-of-body experience, like you're seeing the same moment twice. You both feel it, or all 3 of you feel it. And you're looking straight ahead, kind of past the captain, as he is like stroking his beard, listening to this sound in an otherwise silent room. The beeping has turned off so that they can hear it better. All of you, your eyes are drawn to your own reflections in the glass of the windshield. And there's a moment where your reflections, they look like they're all standing together, just as you are, standing next to each other. But the faces, while they are your faces, the expressions aren't. They look urgent and pleading. And then just as soon as you notice that, your connection to that kind of severs. But Laddie, with 2 full margins of 5 above, everyone else loses the image, but you connect to it. You feel it deeply. You see something kick in. You're here. The helm is here. And this part of yourself, it's electric. And you know that. There's too much evidence of it. And you feel that you are using unconsciously a part of your electrical power, a discharge of your electrical power. No one else notices it. It just kind of ionizes the air as it bleeds out of you toward your reflection, almost like you are feeding energy to this second self. Enough that you get a few words and only you hear them. You've created the frequency. You have fed it the energy, and you hear in your voice urgently say, "Be ready. They're coming. You won't be able to understand." And then it cuts out. And your reflection returns to normal. And you look around and you don't see that anyone else saw this.
Uh-oh.
And as the alarms remain cut, and the captain looks over at the 3 of you, keenly noticing that you all noticed something, that your eyes are fixed on the glass, he turns and then looks back to you and says, Field team, report. And that is where we will pick up next time in part 2 of 3.
Yay!
Woo!
Woo!
Hey,
Ooh,
baby!
I am so happy, you guys. I love this setting. I have waited so many years to play in it. You guys crushed it, but you always do. You at home, you know that. You're no stranger to this. These people are good at their jobs. They're amazing.
You're amazing. You're breathtaking.
So everybody, feel free to go and check out this system for yourselves if you want to use it or modify it for your own purposes.
It'll be
Yeah,
down below.
we will credit the creators of it because they did a really good job. This system rules. This is the first time I've ever used it, and it's really fun.
Exploding might be one of the most
So
fun, satisfying features of any tabletop RPG ever.
100%.
My heart is still racing from exploding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's just
so good.
insane.
So good.
Mwah.
So good. As usual, all of the music that you heard in this episode and in both other parts are composed by me. And we will have those available as well with a link to where you can find our music. Yeah. Does everybody want to say where they can be found since this is a new series?
Okay. I'm Asteria. You can find me at Warden Asteria on Twitter. Don't know how much longer that's gonna be around because this was filmed in November 2022.
Valid.
And Instagram at Warden Asteria. Yeah, hit me up, talk to me about tabletop stuff. I would love to.
I'm Ben. You can find me in your nightmares. I'm not online. Good luck trying to find me.
He's only online to film these videos. Otherwise, he just goes and is completely analog.
Yeah, I hide out in the hell pit that is Florida. So good luck trying to find me.
Coming for Florida. And you can find me my personal account at Schwan Lake on Instagram, or if you want to listen to some raps, you can follow at Action Star Raps on either Instagram or TikTok. And I think Twitter too, but also, I'm not using that.
I am Ian Frost. I am at Frostyverse on Instagram and Twitter, and also on itch.io if you want to check out the system we use for our other show. If you like this and you like some sci-fi stuff but want it to be about superheroes instead of spaceships, go watch The First City, which is our first show. We just finished our second season, so you can catch up in time before we start season 3. That is all I have for you. Happy spacing. Good job doing spaceship stuff. I don't have a sign off. It's space. We love it. Goodbye.
Bye.